All right. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's. All right, Kyle is gone. How do I get that back? Let's try that again. Let's share a screen. Okay. I do not know.
I'm so
Ladies and
tiny.
gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, joined as always by Kyle Price. I'm not seeing the option for just the two of us, so my apologies. This is about as good as it's going to get.
Can you move the screens? Like, can you move the? There you go.
There's that, but I just don't know how to. I don't remember how to change the background. I don't remember what he said to do. Either way, let's get started.
Let's not mess with it right now.
I also can't even get Instagram to go live, or no, maybe I can. Let's hit go live on IG. Just took an extra second to do it.
I
think we are live on Instagram. Okay. There's an early burp. I've been grilling and drinking a Dos Equis today.
What are you
grilling?
What's
going on with you?
What are you grilling?
Just chicken.
Oh, just chicken breast or whatever?
Chicken breast for Tara. I like chicken thighs, and then I grilled some chicken wings that I ate for dinner for myself today.
Any seasoning on them? Anything special?
I marinated the chicken thighs and the chicken breasts in Korean barbecue sauce, and then the chicken wings I just did a dry rub.
Ooh, I love chicken. Ever since I started this diet, me and chicken have been best friends. So
yeah, chicken's great. I love it. I really wish I knew how to do. There it is. Okay, it was hidden all the way at the bottom. Now we're in business, ladies and gentlemen. That's how the show is supposed to look.
Oh, I'm here.
Nailed it.
Okay. Boom, perfect.
Okay, didn't see it down there. It wasn't showing up for some reason, but we're good. All right. I'm gonna share the fuck out of the show. So with that being said, Kyle, how was your week? Week or weekend, whatever you want to call it, the week that was.
Good, busy. Golfed a lot. I noticed you got out golfing too, but I think I golfed. Let's see, I golfed twice over the weekend, and then again yesterday. Filled in for my father-in-law at the golf league. So kind of getting the game together. I shot a miserable 48 yesterday. I lost 3 balls out there, so not losing those balls. Could have shot like a 44 or something. But it's okay. My swing's better. My drives are more consistent. That's the game, is just being more consistent with golf. But big news is I weighed in today. So I weigh in every week. Every Wednesday I weigh in, at the gym just to kind of see where I'm at. 313. And I was at 345.
What was your starting weight?
345 in March.
Okay.
So 31 pounds, which is amazing. I haven't been under 320 in forever, man. So being at 313 is a huge check mark. I can see being under 200 in about 2 or 3 weeks here, which would be great. My goal for the summer was to get, under 200, maybe 290 by the end of the summer, but I think I'm well on track to get that. Just obviously the shot helps, right? It kind of mutes my hunger. I'm not as hungry as much. My entire thing today has been protein shake, another protein shake after working out. I had a pre-workout before I went to work out, and I got home and ate 2 raw hot dogs with some chicken. That's pretty much my dinner right there. It's
not bad.
It's what it is, but I'm not hungry. So that's the big news. But no, other than that, no, we had a pretty fun weekend. We went out Friday night to the rib cook-off. I don't know if you've ever been to it before. Not as crazy big as like Oktoberfest is.
Years ago.
So Oktoberfest, when you walk in through the main gate, like the front gate, it's all just packed, right? Vendors everywhere. You're walking down the causeway, all kinds of vendors. There's nothing. You walk in, there's literally nothing. So you walk in, you pay $10. Yeah, there's nobody there. So you walk in down that long walkway. You take a left at where the Glockenspiel is, and then you walk towards kind of the back area where like the mini Glockenspiel usually is for the Oktoberfest, and that's where the vendors are for the ribs. So they have probably like 7 or 8 different rib barbecue vendors, some other different food vendors, and they have 2 or 3 beer tents. And then they had a good cover band. Robert was there with us last week. Friend of the show, Dave, Roberts went out too. Oh, hi, Mom, from Vegas. Look at that. Nice.
I'm missing the comments. Give me a second. I'm
fine.
new at this. Robert says there's a great cover band.
Yeah.
And Laura, hello. What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm running the production behind the scenes here, and I've never done it before, so bear with us. We're gonna make it work.
I like it.
But glad you guys had a good time. I'm glad I missed it. If Robert was there, that makes me happy to know that I didn't go.
Well, Dave was there, so you missed that. Dave was nice
I
to get
missed
Dave out
Dave,
of the
but
house. Yeah,
I still text with Dave every now and again, so it's nice to text Dave and not see Robert.
But they had a good cover band called the Rising Suns. They played anything from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, which is kind of weird, but they kind of pulled it off. 2 lead singers were female. Good band, great music, hit after hit. We were there for about an hour and a half. And then we hit up the Hydrant, the old place to go to in Berea. I think I messaged you and said, if you're able to break out, go ahead. Obviously, you're getting Teddy on a sleep schedule, which is great. But we were there for a while, played cornhole. Played drunk cornhole with a guy who I literally think was ripped out of a 90s cartoon or a 90s commercial with a very bright colored t-shirt and I think
in right now.
Pants.
That's in.
It's kind of scary to be honest, but no. Overall though, good weekend. Good week.
Not bad at all. Yeah, no, I had a pretty good one. I did a lot. Like Friday night, we walked up and got some ice cream, and for whatever reason, Teddy likes to shit when she's in her stroller and she's out in public, and she had a disgusting one Friday night while we were at the ice cream place. Went through her diaper, down her leg, all in the car seat. So that was our Friday night, was getting her home to get a bath, putting her to bed, and then cleaning her car seat. We had to clean it because we had a cookout to go to on Saturday, so we had to make sure it was washed and dried, everything. We got it done though. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was funny. I find it funny when she shits on things. Tara does not. Hello, sir. Do you have any podcast iTunes store? I don't know what that means.
Spam message is what you call it.
No, that seems legit to me.
But I have money to send to somebody over in Nigeria though. So if you hit me up for that,
I've been told I could. I'm a Nigerian prince if I just send $2,000. So that's pretty cheap in my opinion to become a prince. But that was our Friday night. Honestly, didn't do much. Hung out with the family. Chipper says, "Her guys checking in bar side from ABC." I'm gonna guess he meant hey, and I assume ABC is the Avon Brewing Company, his home away from home.
Him at ABC, I can't imagine him being there. It must be your first time. Hope the menu's good. Hope you have good food and beer. That'd be great.
The one funny thing about Chipper is that he would be like the easiest person to track down if somebody was looking for him, because he is at the same places every time. He's at Avon Brewing Company or Crushers games. That's literally it. You could find him in those two places any given night. And if you ever need to murder Chipper, not hard to find. But so that was our Friday night. Saturday, we went out to our friend's house. They had a little get together cookout. So we hung out with them, Josh and Maria. And Sunday, more cookouts, went to my dad's, just family shit. Then Monday, got to golf. Did 9 at Big Met. Monday afternoon, shot a 60 for my first time out this year. So I'll take it.
So walk me through the meltdown. Like what happened?
Basically, I collapsed on some par threes. So to start, I had hole number 2. Hole number 1, I forgot I got like a 6. It was a par 4 or something like that. So whatever. Hole number 2, I had a really good, I got up to the green, or like right next to the green, but there was like a weird hill that's next to the green. So when my ball went over, we lost it. I went looking for it, and it's a big open area. So I'm like, there's no way my ball, like, how the fuck did this disappear? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Was it thick rough? Do you think it was just
not really? No, really? What happened was I thought I saw it going in one direction, and then the ball, like I said, there was a hill. So then you lose it. And then next thing you know, we're up there looking, and I'm like, it's got to be in this general area, but we couldn't find it. All 4 of us were looking for it for a couple of minutes. No dice. So I ended up dropping. And then I ended up getting a 5 on a par 4, which I probably could have gotten par had I found my ball, because it was in that general area, I assume. And then Tara was like, she's like, you don't have to count the drop. Like, we're not playing for, sport, whatever. And I'm like,
bullshit.
And I told her that. I said, no, I'm counting it. I'm like, I'm not giving myself par because I had to drop. So I took the 5. And then the next hole, I did get a par 4. And then, there were a couple par 3 holes that I just ended up getting like a 6 on one. I think the other one I got like a fucking 7. Like I fell apart on the par 3s. I don't know if you've probably been to Big Met before. There is, I forgot which hole, like hole 7 or something like that. And it's the one that's right on the street. There's literally cars driving by, and I fucking, my tee shot was terrible. And then my second shot, I used my 9-iron just to try to get it to the green, and I fucking shanked it into traffic. There was a car that had to slam on their brakes. It was a whole thing. So yeah, I fell apart on a couple par threes, but it is what it is. Again, 60 on the front 9 for me. Not playing in 6 months, I'll take it. And again, for a guy who just started golfing less than a year ago, I can live with it. I think Tara shot a 45, and I don't remember what my friend shot because they ended up playing 18. We only played 9, so we left, and then they had a couple other friends that subbed in for us for the back 9.
Do you have any plans for the next time you're going out?
No idea.
We have to get together and play. I mean, Jess, I'd like to take Jess out. I mean,
she got clubs last year. You and I played for Romer's bachelor party. That was a fun time. I'd like to golf again. Tara did get me for Christmas. She got me a what is it? A rangefinder? It's called. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, kind of.
She got me a rangefinder and a speaker that mounts or magnetizes to the card, I should say. So playing with you have a speaker, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like it actually makes golfing more fun having a little bit of music playing. So we played music the whole time. I had a really good time.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's. I hate people who you golf and it's quiet.
I get bored. I love noise.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just not fun to, dead silent. And then when people take it way too seriously, they screw up. Yeah, it's get mad, right? Get upset about a bad golf game or something. But let's not freak out about let's not freak out about having a bad shot. We all have them, right? I lost 3 balls yesterday. It's not like I beat myself up over it. It's what it is.
Yeah, no,
you aim to have mistake-free golf, right? Mitigate the mistakes. That's the best part.
I get pissed, but I also like laugh it off. Like if I swing and it's a shitty one, I'm like, you just hear me going, motherfucker. Like I talk shit about it like to myself, but I don't it doesn't ruin my day. It is what it is. Like I leave and I'm always like, man, I really sucked on this hole. I wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that, whatever. But I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Certain person in this chat that was the message earlier has been known to throw a club or two. Been known to snap a club or two in anger, but we won't mention any names, Robert. It's okay.
I was gonna say it's Robert or Chipper, so it's got to be one of the two. Robert doesn't strike me as the angry golfer, but then again, I guess I could see it. He
is very short tempered.
Is he good at golf? Like obviously it's subjective. Is he all right?
Let's see here. So Robert and I bet a couple times last year, $100 each time that he beat me, and he paid me $300. So
okay.
No,
Don P.
But he's getting better. He's getting actually a little better. He's got new clubs. He's got a new driver. He's got some new sets he's working on. So
apparently he had to if he's breaking all of them.
I have not played with him one-on-one before. Next weekend at our next MGA event will be our first time playing actually together in the same cart. So the amount of shit talking that will take place will be interesting. And I can handle my alcohol, so I will be passing out drinks while we're playing.
Wait, are you guys against each other, or you're teaming up?
No, we're gonna be on the same. We're gonna be in the same cart. Like we're partners. Like we're in the same cart. But he bet me again, so I'm just gonna.
Okay, so you're doing a gentleman's bet, but you are playing together technically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotcha. So, okay,
should be a fun time.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get back out again. I don't know when that'll be, but obviously with the baby, it makes it a little more difficult. But I cannot wait. I got the itch now. You golf one time and I got the itch.
How's your wife shooting? Is this her first time out? Obviously since the baby, right?
Yeah, she shot a 45 and she actually struggled a lot in the beginning. She was not doing well. So a 45 for her. She's not happy about that score. But
she shot a 45?
Yeah.
Damn, Terry, you suck. I know you're watching, but that's horrible.
She was pissed. She was not happy with herself.
Robert, if you win, I take half the money. Okay, well, wait a minute. What? If you win, that's half our money, babe.
That's marriage.
But no, I'm just glad it's good weather, man. Just like yesterday, golfing was like 75 and slight breeze, nothing. No, it wasn't burning hot. I wasn't sweating my ass off. It was just a nice day to go out there and shoot an easy 9, right? Got it in. It was, dusk off. So like it was getting darker, but it was like perfect. Like it is outside right now. It was perfect, So.
Yeah, Monday was pretty good. It started to get, we had a late tee time. They set it up. Our friends scheduled it. They had a 2:30 tee time, and it was sunny and warm for like the first 4 holes, give or take. And then all of a sudden the clouds took over and the temperature dropped like 10 degrees at least. Mm-hmm. And then it got windy as fuck. So it made it a little difficult. There were times where I was getting ready to tee off, and I would just stand there, and I'm like, I'm waiting for this fucking wind to die down because it was no joke.
How did you like Big Met? Is that your first time playing there?
No, I've played there before. I like it though. It's a good course.
We got to get you out and get you experience some more golf courses around the area. Try some new places out. Get you over on this side.
Yeah, I need to actually start logging where I've played because I have people that are like, hey, you want to go play this place? Have you ever been here? And I'm like, I don't know. I have to ask Tara. I'm like, did we ever play there? Like, I don't know. I don't know the golf courses. I know I've been to Ridgewood. I've done Big Met. I've done Little Met. Seneca sounds familiar, but I don't remember. I honestly don't recall.
Well, we use this thing in the MGA. It's called the Grint. It's an app on your phone, and you download it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything if you don't want to, but it tracks your round. It tracks every golf course you've ever played at before. And then also tracks, obviously, your history. So if you played a golf course a second time, you can see kind of what you previously shot before. And it gives you the option to ghost play yourself, right? So if you played somewhere, it'll track your last score there. So you're kind of playing against yourself at your best score, and you can play to beat yourself, basically, which is kind of cool. But it does definitely keep track. And there's a huge amount of us who are all on there that keep track of our scores, and it gets you a handicap over after so many games. So you can kind of see like a base handicap of what your handicap would be as a golfer, which is kind of cool to have, depending on how serious you get.
I actually use 18 birdies.
That's another one too. I think so. Yeah,
I use.
I've just never used it before.
Yeah, it's not bad. It shows you the whole course from a nice 3D view, like Google Earth or whatever. And it I don't know, it worked pretty well. I like it. So yeah, I got to golf, pretty exciting. And that was my weekend. I really didn't do shit. Having a baby is just, I'm usually home hanging out with some people or with the baby.
So now you have to start bringing Teddy out while you're golfing. I've seen a lot of dads have like the little baby carriage with the golf clubs attached to it. So
we've actually, Tara sent me a video where there's like a car seat for a baby, so you could bring her along. We just have to wait till she's a little bit older because she's not quite ready to chill in that all day, but she'll definitely be going with us.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Join the MGA. Maybe your guys' is fucking the courses you guys play are so goddamn far away. I'm not trying to get up at 5 o'clock and drive an hour on a Saturday morning.
You're preaching to the choir, and it's further away for me and for us West Siders because a lot of the courses
that was Tara's biggest complaint when she was in the league last year. She's like, some of these courses, she's like, they're like an hour and a half. She's like, it's so fucking far away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that.
But I mean, the cool part is you have to play every tournament,
right? You can pick and choose, then, yeah. My Uncle Henry is a huge golfer. He's been golfing like my whole life. Yeah, he is he's a shabby dresser, we should say. He's been known to steal the spotlight when he comes around with his outfits. It's a good time.
Does he wear the old like knickerbockers, like the high socks, high pants type outfit?
He will wear, whatever he wants. He has some of the most flamboyant polos you'll ever see. I'm sure he gets down with some nice checkered pants. Just honestly, no shame in his game at all. And he's been golfing forever, so yeah, if you can't beat him, blind him. That's fair. His shirts definitely will make somebody look at him like, what the hell did I just see?
That's hilarious.
I would love to golf with him. I want to golf so much this year. I'm very excited. I already told my mom and sister came over to watch Teddy on Monday while we were golfing. I told them, I'm like, you guys are the official golf babysitters. Be prepared to get called upon often. That's Dave, great. What's up, dude? Thank you for checking in. I am running the board today, so I am learning on the fly.
Producer Justin.
It's actually not that bad. It's now that I understand it. The only problem was when George called me earlier, he had me on a video chat here to walk me through everything, and he was also on the phone with somebody else. So, and I'm in the middle of grilling my food. So I literally am holding my laptop. I walked it outside to my grill while I'm live chatting with George. I'm trying to flip my chicken. He's telling me what to do with buttons, and I'm standing outside. I'm like, I think we'll be all right. And hearing him tell me about it is one thing, but I'm a learn by doing kind of person. So him explaining it was perfect. He did tell me, like, click this button to play your intro video, do this, do that. Pretty self-explanatory shit. But my problem is I needed to actually see it and do it. So here we are. It took me a minute when we started, but pretty good. I thought you golfed last year, Dave.
I'd like to try to golf.
I could have swore he went out golfing last year for the first time, or maybe he just talked about it.
Chipper can give you some free lessons. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to take you out in the course and whack those balls around a little bit.
Yeah, you guys can both be on the senior tees and have a good time.
He keeps trying to get to the senior tees. Chipper does, but sorry. No dice, sir. No dice.
Oh, okay. So Dave went to the driving range. Okay. I thought you actually went golfing. I mean, obviously playing an actual course is way different than a driving range, but still, at least you got some practice in. So, excuse me, I'm down. Let's go golfing. Let's schedule it. I know we talked about it last year. I would like to try to set up a talking about balls golf outing. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, we could do them. There's a lot of different courses that don't require like a lot of upfront stuff. There's like some smaller courses. You could do like Carlisle, you could do Royal Crest, you could do Brentwood. These courses are kind of like not perfect, but still fun time, and they'll be more than happy to take an outing of 30 or an outing up to 90. We're not going to get 90, I'm sure, but still it'd be kind of fun to get a group together, and I'm sure we can get a huge following to come out and do it for a day.
Dave, I eat fish. I don't fish. I've never actually gone fishing in my life, and it doesn't sound like fun. I have a very short attention span, so fishing is not for me. I can't just sit there and like stare at water and not do anything. I can't do it. There's just no way. But I never have. I've never done it. So maybe I would like it, but I'm gonna 90% chance that I wouldn't.
Yeah, I could never.
I guess never say never, but
I can't fish. Fish is the most boring thing ever in life to do. I see these kids in the backyard fishing in our pond that we have back here, and it just, to me, I'd rather watch paint dry than throw a lure into the water and try to catch a fish. It's just, I don't know, it's boring.
Fish and drink. I could drink and do just about anything else, Robert, and that sounds good to me. And Dave said Crown Peach and green tea shots while you're fishing. Is that like the combination?
I like how the last time I saw Dave was passing out green tea and Crown Peach like it was going out of business.
Ridgewood for talking about balls outing or even fundraiser. That's actually a good idea. There's a guy that I work with who is actually my desk at work. It's a long desk, so there's multiple people. It's just me and this other guy. And he used to work at Ridgewood, and that's his home course. He plays there like 2 or 3 times a week. He's in multiple leagues. So
I've never golfed at Ridgewood before.
It's a pretty nice course. Getting into Ridgewood probably wouldn't be that difficult. So I'm sure we could set something up. I just don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to set up not even a fundraiser. Like I'd be cool with just doing an outing. I just don't know how to set that up with like a golf course. Like, do you have to pay something up front and then get people to join, or can you just tell them like, we have a huge group, we'd like to come up and make a day of it? Like,
depends. I mean, I know usually when you do outings, you have to pay like the league, like whatever the green fees are and the cart fees. And then if you want to do some kind of giveaways, you can go above and beyond and like have them pay extra if you want to provide alcohol, or you could just say, look, anybody just pay for the green fees and the cart fees, and then we'll do some kind of like giveaway at the end for whoever finished first, second, and third. Just kind of our own thing, like for a talking about balls type thing, like maybe a bottle of something or a shirt or something like that, just for fun, just for funsies. But like Mallard runs these outings all the time, and it's crazy. You pay like 150, but you get lunch and you get food at the turn and food at the end. You get drinks, blah blah blah, drink specials. So
I see Tiger Woods, aka Robert, says Ridgewood is horrible. I've been there. It's a pretty decent course. I don't know. Just because you suck there, Robert, doesn't make it a horrible course. Remember that. Does golf give you a handicap for people that suck? I don't think so, but I really don't know.
It does. Yes.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yes. That's what handicap literally is. When you establish a handicap, if you have a higher handicap, if you go against them with the lower handicap, especially in leagues like this, it brings your scores closer together. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes it fair for people to play together.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of handicapped people probably golfing too, so that helps. Call Uncle Henry. He will walk you through it. He golfs there every Friday night. Oh, I didn't know he golfs there on Friday nights. That's awesome. That's right down the street from me, basically. Dave's brother plays golf. He wants to go with him. Golf God versus Justin. I am the golf god, Robert. I hope you understand that. I am the gamble god and the golf god. Rolled into one, baby. Golf in Vegas, not for me. Kyle does that once a year. I went to Vegas the one time for the draft and didn't care for it. Steve, what's up, dude? Statistic Steve in the building. Speaking of friends that I've given nicknames specifically for our show, Triple G, Guardian Guy Greg, that we talked about last week, did break his arm playing baseball, and it is not going to stop that motherfucker from playing the trumpet. He said, I use one arm and I can Louis Armstrong the fuck out of this thing. He is not missing his band performance, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. I kind of just assumed when you break an arm, you're going to be not playing a musical instrument in front of a crowd at a live performance. And Greg said, fuck that, I'm doing it. So kudos to Greg.
Confirmed. I went over there to pick up some cards that he had for me saved to the side, and that's one of the hard hitting questions I had to ask him. Like, so what is this going to do for your music career? He's like, nothing. I can definitely play. But he says it wasn't a big break. I guess he still moves it when he can. They want him moving it so it doesn't.
That's what she said.
So, AO. But no, good for Greg. I'm glad it's not as bad as it could be. So quick road for recovery. Hopefully, Greg gets out there and gets to play ball again this year, and gets the thumbs up to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves playing in his baseball league, and I feel bad for him that it was the first game. Like, at least, like, if he could have gotten a few games in, it's one thing, but instead it was literally the first game of the season. So that sucks. I feel bad.
So do we have to trademark that name now for him?
Guardian Guy Greg. Yeah, Guardian probably. Guy Greg. I'm worried that he's going to start showing up with like apparel that says Guardian Guy Greg on it, which more power to you. But that's my thing. I want credit for it. And if there's any sort of monetary compensation, I want that as well. Dave says, have a good show, guys. Got a few things to do. Miss you guys. How's the baby? Kyle, how's the wife and dog? Dave, everything's great, man. Baby's doing great. She is getting old. It's fucking crazy how old she is already. Truly feels like yesterday we were leaving the hospital, and here we are. She is going to be 4 months soon. It's fucking bananas. Bananas. Don't let Tara hear you talk about that. When you talk about her getting older and bigger, she like hates it. But no,
she is getting older.
Everyone's doing great. Yeah, she's starting to make noise and coo a little bit. She'll be laughing soon.
Do you have money on what the first word is going to be when it gets to that point?
I mean, the smart money's on dada, because that's just so easy for a kid to say, but like just based on my vocabulary, it's going to be fuck or shit. It's going to be a swear word for sure. Cause like the one thing I don't like, and I told my family this when they hang out with her or whatever, I'm always like, don't baby talk her. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, it's a little baby. I talk to her like she's an adult. I like make up songs and sing with her. Thank you, SC Journey. The show is about, we get to sports. So the way we do our show is we start off with what we call the BS segment. We just bullshit. We talk about our weekend. And then at about the half-hour point, that's when we start talking sports. So we're actually just getting ready to get into the NBA here in a second. So if you want to stick around for an extra minute or two, we will be talking sports here in a second.
Unless you're talking about the other balls, and that's our medical segment. We usually cover that later. So
yeah, we do balls, prostate exams, whatever you want. We do them all live on here. We just ask for a little donation to our Patreon account, and yeah, you get prostate exams. We do them virtually, pretty thorough too. But yeah, no. So I tell everybody, like, don't talk to her like she's a baby. Like, talk to her like she's an adult, and that's how I do it. And the language does not stop.
Is this talking to Tara or talking to Teddy? I'm confused.
Both. Most people have to. They talk to Tara like she's a child a lot too, because they're like, I don't think she's getting it. Like, I don't think she's understanding me, so they have to talk a little. They have to slow it down a bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, vasectomies. We give those out every Friday. If you're interested, give us a call. And then
they got the new Ryobi vasectomy tool that we can use. It's 18-volt battery. It comes with.
Yeah, and we do 2-for-1 prostate Mondays. So that's the deal. Bring in your punch card. 7th one is free, so feel free to schedule with Kyle and get that all scheduled and taken care of.
Schedule with me, thanks.
That's great. Schedule. That's why Kyle's been losing all that weight. He's got to get his fingers a little thinner so he can get in there a little bit easier. All right, well, that was our BS segment. Literally, not a whole lot to talk about.
Let's get into some balls.
We still make it last a half an hour. So yeah, now it is time to officially talk about balls, and we are going to start with the hottest topic in Cleveland, at least, because surprisingly, they haven't done much with this information, and that is JB Bickerstaff. JB Bickerstaff was officially fired. Of course, go figure. Kyle and I always joke about this, that shit happens right after we record. So Wednesday night, last week, we talked about JB Bickerstaff and are they going to fire him? What changes are they going to make? And lo and behold, the next fucking morning after we did our show, the Cavs let JB Bickerstaff go, and they had kept him for over a week. Because when we recorded last week, the Cavs season had been over for a week. They were saying they're going to think about it and they're going to work on it. Oh man, SC says his daughter is 22. Yeah, I'm going to need her to. They better not be changing math. I know they're doing all that weird shit with like what's it called? Common Core or some bullshit. Like,
I
don't know that
for a while now, but yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't around when I was in school. So she's going to know the math that I know.
I think they're bringing it back to the original math. I think. I'm not sure, but still.
Yeah, because I was a nightmare for teachers when I was in school, and I'm going to be even more of a nightmare to teachers while my kid's in school if they try all that bullshit. Yeah, Kenny Atkinson is the hot name, Robert. I heard that as well. Steve's 8-year-old doing that math shit. Yeah, I see people posting pictures all the time, and they're like, what fucking world does this math make sense? This isn't math. Like, you can't expect to change up math on people that are adults that have been out of school for, geez, what? I'm 35 years old. So that's almost fucking 20 years I've been out of school. Kyle, you've been out of school for 50 years at this point. Math is so different. They've invented new numbers. They found so much more. They invented electricity since you've been in school. So many things have happened since Kyle's been in school. And you can't expect kids to just come home with something new and a parent to be like, okay, yeah, no problem. I totally understand something I've never learned in my fucking life. That's stupid.
I went to school. I had to go to school and do long division. I was in school when they made us write in cursive and learn how to write in cursive. I don't think that's even taught anymore.
No, cursive is not. I was in school when they used to take your cell phone away and they would yell at you.
Cell phones in school.
Yeah, that's Kyle barely had rotary phones. They always would tell you, especially in math class, ironically enough, we're talking about math. They would always tell you, you're not going to always have a calculator handy. Joke's on you, teacher, because now everybody does. You have a fucking Apple Watch. You can have every technology in the world, your phone, watch, whatever. You have a calculator. Ebony had pagers. Okay, I remember pagers. I think I had one.
Make sure briefly. You share all these comments. You're falling behind there.
I think I got them all right. I missed...
I didn't see do you talk about all kinds of sports?
Okay, I missed this one. I missed the damn in my Kevin Hart voice. We don't talk about Kevin Hart on the show, Robert. He's not funny. Do you talk all kinds of sports? That Mash It is Wild. Yeah, we do. We talk all sports. We start off, we're a Cleveland-based show, but we do talk all things sports. So we cover the topics of Cleveland, but then we do a broader little bit of everything. So right now we're just starting off with the Cavs because JB Bickerstaff was the biggest news here in Cleveland. Yeah, Robert says we are old. Ebony had pagers. What's up, Ebony? Thank you for checking in. Tell Grape we said hello. Rub rocks together for fire. I remember those days, the Stone Age. Robert had one, and Kyle was sending love notes using a pigeon post.
I used to go out of the way to make sure I folded it in such a perfect way that like they wanted to open and read it.
When I was in middle school, where you had to send notes and like you'd have to pass a note in the hallway. That shit was terrifying. You'd like spill your guts on a piece of paper and you'd hand it off and just hope they reciprocate, or otherwise you're getting roasted by everybody if this goes south. And it happens.
The worst feeling though was getting like the thick note folded in like 20 different ways because it's like 7 pages. You're like, oh shit, like what did I do?
And it's their nice way of telling you like we should just be friends. You're just like, oh god, you're fucking crushed. Because when you're a kid, you're dumb, so like you take rejection so much harder. Yeah, so the Cavs did let go of JB Bickerstaff. The Cavs wrote him a note and said, do you like me, yes or no? And they circled no for JB Bickerstaff. They did not want him back. He's gone. And yeah, as Robert said, Kenny Atkinson, the former Brooklyn Nets head coach, currently he's an assistant with the Golden State Warriors. He is the front runner, according to the rumor mill. Again, last week.
Is he the scapegoat, or is that what he is right now? He's fired. Is he the scapegoat for all the problems we had at the end of the season, you think?
No, he earned it. I mean, let's be honest. His late game management was pretty piss poor. Yeah. His rotations were pretty rough. I understand we had injuries, but other teams have injuries and you overcome them. I mean, I know it's not as extreme, but the Pacers lost Tyrese Halliburton for the last 2 games, and they still played with the Celtics pretty tightly. They played them very well. Yeah, Celtics are going to the finals. So they went there without Porzingis. The Pacers won without Tyrese Halliburton. Other teams have injuries. It is what it is. The Knicks got the 2 seed. The Knicks, obviously they blew it against the Pacers, but the Knicks did most of that without OG Anunoby, without Julius Randle for most of the season. Jalen Brunson's been banged up. Like, teams have injuries. I understand the Cavs didn't have Donovan Mitchell. They didn't have Darius Garland. They didn't have Evan Mobley during the regular season. But at the end of the year, for me, it was inexcusable when we lost games to the Hornets. We lost some games to some shitty teams that we should have won. And we missed out on the 2 seed by only a half a game, if I'm not mistaken, behind the Knicks. So the Cavs could have just won a handful of more games, and they would have had the 2 seed. Does that make a difference? I don't know. I mean, getting past the Sixers would not have been easy with the team that we had. Getting past the Pacers would not have been easy with the team that we had. Or the Knicks, whomever we would have played in the second round. And then getting past the Celtics, if we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, probably would have had the same results. The Celtics are a powerhouse of a team. They're very good. So I don't think he's a scapegoat. I kind of feel like as if we plateaued with JB Bickerstaff. We basically went as far as we could with him, and that's why they needed to make
backwards. I think we went backwards this year because our defense was non-existent on the floor this year. We were one of the top defensive teams last year.
A lot of that has to do with injuries. We lost some of our. I mean, Evan Mobley missed a big chunk of the season. Jared Allen got hurt at the end of the year. Jared Allen was playing probably the best basketball of his career in the playoffs for the first round. He was putting up like 20 points, 20 rebounds. He was fucking dominating, and we still barely struggled to beat the Orlando Magic in a 7-game series. For me, winning that playoff round, a lot of people are saying, that's great. With JB Bickerstaff, the Cavs went from being a shitty team to a team in the play-in tournament that they lost. And then the next year they had an actual playoff spot where we lost in the first round to the Knicks. Next year we won a series and then we lost in the second round to the Celtics. So yes, every year under JB Bickerstaff, we have taken a step forward. But for me personally, I don't believe in moral victories. Beating the Orlando Magic in 7 games, a team, you're the Cavs. You have Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. These guys are veterans, by definition. And they were all in the playoffs last year. All of these guys have playoff experience, and you faced a raw Magic team. The Magic team is young as fuck. I think Paolo Banchero is like 21 years old, and these guys have never played in the playoffs. Most of the people on that roster have never even seen the playoffs. And you let them take you to 7 games. For me, that's inexcusable. That's JB Bickerstaff. I mean, in those games it's not like we lost on like some fluke last minute heroic kind of shit, lucky shots. If you remember the games 3 and 4 of that series, they lost by like a collective, I think 50 points.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. In the playoffs in the first round against a team that's never been to the playoffs. I'm not saying you should sweep because it's obviously sweeping in the NBA is easier said than done. But losing by 50 collective points is just unacceptable.
What's the next move now? So JB, we talked about this, right? JB was the first domino to fall. What's next? Are they going to wait, you think, for a little while before they start making these next moves? Obviously, till the season's over. But I mean, what's next? Who's next to go?
Next step is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is the next domino because if Donovan Mitchell does not take an extension, then you don't get rid of Darius Garland and you don't get rid of Jared Allen. If Donovan Mitchell stays, and that's part of his package. The agreement is, which don't get me wrong. The other thing that's really fucked up is I was listening to Chandler Parsons last week. Apparently he's on a FanDuel show or whatever with Michelle Beadle and some other analysts. And when they fired JB Bickerstaff, he went on and started roasting Donovan Mitchell. And he said, all right, Donovan, it's on you now. You got your coach fired. You're asking for players to be traded away. Like this is you. And then next thing you know, or not next thing you know, but people that actually know what happened and like read the Athletic report, Darius Garland's camp is saying they want out if Donovan Mitchell stays. It's not Donovan Mitchell that said get rid of him. I don't think Donovan Mitchell said that. Can they play well together? No. It's pretty obvious. I think the proof is in the pudding that those two do not play well together. When one is out, the other one seems to play so much better. So it's clear that those two don't mesh, and that's unfortunate. But that's just the raw deal of the NBA. You can make a trade for some of the biggest superstars in the world, and it doesn't matter. I've always said it on here. Yes, a trade can sound great, but at the end of the day, there's only one ball. Same goes for football, whatever. You can load your team up with as many superstars as you want. The only sport where that really makes a difference would be baseball. Baseball, you can't really hide anybody. If you have a really good top to bottom lineup, you have to face everybody individually. They can all do their job. They're all on defense, whatever. In football, yeah, if you have the greatest offensive unit around, you only have one ball. So only one guy can hurt you per play. In the NBA, same thing. There's only one ball. So if you have a guy that's a great shooter like Donovan Mitchell or a great shooter like Darius Garland, they're both not going to be able to get up 30 shots a night, and they're both not going to be able to score 50 points, even though they could do it individually. They just won't. It's not something you could do every single night. You have to strategize for that. It makes things a lot more difficult. And if you look at, teams that have tried to make super teams that just don't work, the Brooklyn Nets come to mind when they had
Kyrie and Durant. And
Kyrie, Durant, James Harden, Ben Simmons, had all these guys, and it just didn't work. And then you look at the Phoenix Suns last year, speaking of Kevin Durant, you had Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and didn't work. This year, the Clippers went all in. They have Kawhi Leonard. They have Paul George. They went after James Harden. They have Russell Westbrook. You look at that on paper, and you're like, oh, fuck, this team's going to be good. First round exit, didn't matter.
But then you have it. It does work with certain teams, right? The Miami Heat, Bosh and Wade and LeBron, that worked, right?
Absolutely.
Three championships down there. Two was it two? No, three.
No, they got three.
And then you have it work in.
No, they only did get two. I think you're right. They won the first year. They were only there for 4 years together. I think they lost the first year,
lost one at Dallas,
and then lost against San Antonio, and then LeBron left. Two. So yeah, two.
Yeah, he only has four, right? Two with them, one with us, one with the Lakers, correct?
I think that sounds right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think he's got 4.
Where you at, Steve?
Yeah, Statistics Steve. How many rings does LeBron James have?
So
I think 4 is the right answer.
It's almost like a mirroring image of what happened back with Kyrie. So I mean, Garland obviously sees himself as the number one ball handler on a team, right? I mean, we talked about this at the beginning of the season when Garland was out, how well the Cavs were playing without him in the lineup. When Donovan was kind of running the offense and things were flowing, the ball movement, the flow of the game, we're like, this is fucking amazing. The Cavs are off to a great start. They're doing well. And then he comes back and it took a whole 2 weeks maybe. And then it started getting clunky again. It sucks because I think Garland wants to be that highlight, kind of like how Kyrie was when LeBron was here. He didn't want to take the second fiddle role very well. And it's unfortunate the route he's going to take, but we need someone who can take that Robin to Batman role and run with it, and that's not Garland, unfortunately.
No, and the other issue I have with Darius Garland was, and I was very vocal about it, he is the least clutch basketball player I have ever fucking seen in my life. He's a guy that he could put up. It's not even that he's scared. He's not afraid to shoot. He's not afraid to do some crazy shit. He just turns the ball over and makes horrible decisions. I watched him in countless games where, he'll have 25 plus points. He had a really good game, very efficient. He had, 6 assists. He's having a really good game. Final 2 minutes, game on the line. It's a tie game or Cavs only up by a few. Darius Garland starts dribbling like a fucking maniac, turning the ball over, dribbling off his foot, putting up horrible shots, bricking them, just making really, really bad decisions. And then to me, that just shows he has a low basketball IQ. And I think that's part of the reason why he doesn't really mesh well with with Donovan Mitchell. Because when he's by himself, he can just go out there and shoot. There's really no thought process behind it. But when he's out there trying to actually be the leader of the offense, like you said, if he's running point, he's out there trying to think on the fly, and he just can't do it. So to me, it's a low basketball IQ. And I like Darius Garland. It was cool. He was an all-star with us, and then he's regressed ever since. I know he had that bad jaw injury this year where he had his mouth wired shut. But I feel like he's played his last game as a Cleveland Cavalier, assuming we're keeping Donovan Mitchell. And that's
have you heard anything? Any reports about how the extension talks are going? I do keep on seeing these like tidbits of that. He likes it in Cleveland, and he wouldn't mind staying in Cleveland. But I've never seen anything official yet.
No, everything I've seen basically is people. Darius. I'm sorry, I get him. I get their names mixed up when I get all flustered. Donovan Mitchell is a great teammate. He doesn't throw anyone under the bus. He's never going to say the wrong thing. Behind the scenes, who knows what's really happening? Maybe he did go in and say, get fucking JB out of here. Because I've heard rumors, which I'm not buying into, of the next Cavs head coach could be Rick Pitino, because that was Donovan Mitchell's coach at Louisville. I don't think that's the case. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's a very, very good player. Is he a guy that you are going to give the keys to the franchise to? I don't. Not in my world.
Are we rolling Pitino out in a wheelchair? Rumor. Jesus, that man's old as fuck.
No shit. But that was a rumor that's going around. I don't believe it, but yeah, no, I don't know. It's difficult. It's hard to say with Donovan Mitchell. Everything I've heard is that he loves Cleveland. He's not going anywhere. He plans on staying. But again, this could just be, he knows how to PR wise. He knows how to say the right things. Nobody's upset. He's not ruffling any feathers. He's just going to say the good shit. And then behind the scenes, he might be like, no, get me the fuck out of here. Trade me. But you never know. I guess we'll find out as the season progresses. I don't think we're going to really hear anything until after the finals ends, because we have the draft coming up like a week after the finals, which the fucking NBA, I hate that they do it this way. I get it, but they have the dates set in advance for the finals. So luckily last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves won, because if there was a sweep, we would have had to have waited 9 days for the next basketball game, because the finals start June 6th, which is next Thursday. And that's set in stone. So if those series were both over, we would have just had to wait over a week to watch an NBA game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a hell of a game last night too.
Very fun.
Back and forth. But I mean, Luka, love Luka's game, but man, that guy just needs to stop complaining so much and just fucking play basketball, dude.
I'm all right with it. I love Luka. He's fun. One thing I wanted to make a comment about, so we'll talk a little bit about the NBA here, is the Boston Celtics got the clean sweep over the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers pissed down their leg. I think 3 out of the 4 games, they had it in the bag in the fourth quarter, and then they blew it. You have a veteran coach like Rick Carlisle, who's been in the NBA for a long time. He's coached many good teams, and that team collapsed at the end of the games, and that's shocking. For me, that's coaching. There were times where there should have been timeouts called where they didn't do it. Horrible decision-making and play calling and just bad overall, just really, really, really shit. Honestly, they shit their pants. They pissed on their leg, whatever saying you want to go with. They fucked up. They blew it. And for me, Rick Carlisle is the only person you can really point the finger at. You got to give it to the head coach. And I don't think they would have been able to beat Boston 4 times and win the series, but they should have won a game or 2 in that series. And again, they just blew it at the end of the game. They had leads.
Well, I mean, and they had leads in like 3 of those games. I mean, I think 2 of them, they had like 10-point leads going into the fourth quarter. So if you just lock the defense down like you did all game and just continue, I just feel like they got shot happy. If they even came close to maybe down by 2 points, they started chucking up threes. And I didn't understand that type of play.
I mean, I'll give them credit with that. That's their offense. They are just a run and gun kind of team.
Yeah.
They are going to just shoot more than everybody, and they shoot at a high percentage, and that's how they win games. It's how they were able to beat Boston, or almost beat Boston a few times, I believe. Even though they lost the series, they had like the highest shooting field goal percentage in like Eastern Conference Finals history or something like that. Good team, young team, so there's somebody to keep an eye on for the future. They could potentially run this back because they have a lot of young talent on that team. But seeing them just fucking blow it at the end of those games, unacceptable. I'd be pissed if I'm a Pacers fan. I feel like you kind of had that one. You had multiple games.
Are you mad? I mean, the Pacers made it pretty far. They made it 2 rounds, right? So good for you. You made it there. So are you going to go back?
For me, it's just the way that they lost. Like that's a legacy loss. They blew it. It's not like they went out there and they tried their best and Boston's just a better team. Like you said, they had multiple double-digit leads late into games, and they just found ways to fuck it up. I'll never forget, I think it was game 1. They were inbounding the ball with like 30 seconds left or whatever. Yeah, it was less than 30 seconds. It was right before Jaylen Brown hit that game-winning or game-tying 3-pointer. They had a timeout, and they fucking rushed a pass into Pascal Siakam, and it got deflected, and it went out of bounds, and it was the Celtics ball. And it was almost a 5-second violation. Like, call the timeout. That's just bad coaching. How do you let them run that offense or try to inbound the ball there when you look and go, shit, this has a nightmare written all over it. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. No one's open. Call the timeout, reassess, reset everything. Instead, they let it go, and it cost them the game. So just
out of that coach, that coach is surprising. You know, I mean, because you think somebody who's been there before, right? Who's been in this scenario and situation would call a better game. I agree with you. I think that obviously 100% on Rick Carlisle, but I think this team, I don't know about you. I mean, this team's going to be around for a couple of years. I mean, they have a pretty good, solid core, young core. I don't see any big changes this offseason. I don't think any of them are up for contract. So you probably see the Pacers a lot next year too.
Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, and Tyrese Halliburton are all like the top 3 players on that team. And there's a chance that I'd have to look at all their contracts. I really don't know.
Well, Miles Turner went MIA in the last 2 games of this season anyways. Like, he wasn't around, especially the last game.
Which is a shame because without Kristaps Porzingis, the Celtics have no size. So a team with a big man, a la Miles Turner, should be dominating.
Yeah.
Their center is Al Horford. Like, you should be able to dominate that. I forgot which game it was. It was either game 2 or game 3. I don't recall, but there was another situation where I think Indiana was down by like 1 or something like that. And they got a rebound. And there was like 10 seconds left. And I think it was Andrew Nembhard, I believe. It was either him or Aaron Nesmith. I don't remember which one. And they got the rebound. Rick Carlisle let him play. And that's another issue with Rick Carlisle. In that situation, call the timeout, run a play, give your team the best opportunity to – I forgot the score. So it was either to tie the game or to win the game. And Rick Carlisle just let him get the rebound, run full speed down court. He fucking tripped over himself, turned the ball over, cost him the game. And it's like, why are you letting this young team just fucking play like it's a rec league? Call a timeout, call a play. You're the head coach. So just 2 games out of that series that I can just think of off the top of my head, I fully blame Rick Carlisle for them losing. So if I'm a Pacers fan, I'm pretty upset with him.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'd be happy that my team got that far, but I'd also be really fucking mad that we had an opportunity and that's why we lost.
To go to the finals, yeah.
Yeah. But that's just me.
Dallas looks like it's going to pull it off, though.
Dallas is more than likely going to lose. It's very...
Dallas is going to win.
It's never happened where a team came back from a 3-0 deficit. So even last night, it took everything out of them. And
did you see that? You see that bet that the guy had? I think we talked about this. He put $50 down on Michigan to win the national championship, on I think the Rangers or whatever to win the World Series, and then he put on Dallas to be the division champions. So if he wins, it's $98,000. He wins $50 bet, $98,000.
I'm pretty confident that's going to hit if he lets that go. I don't see Dallas.
I don't know I don't think he cashed it. He let it ride. So
yeah, no, I would at this point.
But Jesus Christ, what a payout for $50 just to bet that, right? That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on Anthony Edwards? I feel like the NBA is trying to make him the next face of the league. There were people that were trying to compare him to Michael Jordan because he had 2 good games.
He's Michael Jordan's kid. What are you talking about?
Yeah, last year it was Jimmy Butler. This year it's Anthony Edwards. So apparently, if you're a good NBA player and I don't know do they both like not know who their father is? I really don't know. Just tell everybody that it's Michael Jordan, I guess. But Anthony Edwards had a couple of really good games early in the playoffs and then disappeared for a few games. And even against Dallas, they asked him after one of the games, I think it was like after game 2 or 3, and he's like, I have to be more aggressive. If that means I got to put up 30 shots, whatever, we're going to try it. Didn't make a difference. Yesterday, he had a pretty good game. They won the game. This is where I found an issue with Anthony Edwards. Immediately after the game, they asked him, they said, every game you guys have had the lead in the 4th quarter, and you've lost 3 of those. Today, you were able to hold on to it. What do you accredit that to? And instead of him being a good teammate and going, well, we're a good team. We stuck together. We trusted each other, blah, blah, blah. He just goes, well, I shot more. My teammates gave me the ball more. So he basically threw his team under the bus and said that he was the reason that they were finally able to win this game because he was more aggressive. Had nothing to do with anybody else. JG in a dark dungeon, Kyle in a nice lit house. Shut up, Pat. I'm in my office. I don't have the greatest lighting. I do have what are these? I got the ring light going.
Where's Chipper at when you need him with the comments for the sewing room?
I've got better lighting than Chipper, at least.
We talked about this last week a little bit about, Edwards and just what we thought about him. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I think he's cocky. I think he is. I think he thinks he's better than what he is. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, right? But he's not like the level of these other great players in the league. And he's trying to talk himself into existence. Even last night, even I don't know if you watched like from the beginning, but I was watching the shoot around when they were like had him mic'd up, and just how he was talking to people, like the shit he was saying, like, oh, don't let us go home tonight, blah blah blah. Like it's just, I don't know. He just sounded cocky as shit. I'm not a big fan of Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, no, for me, it's like if you're gonna talk that shit and you're gonna act like you're the next greatest thing, then you can't disappear. So I'm not expecting the guy to have 40 points every game. That's unrealistic. But he has a game where he has 40 plus points. The next game he doesn't even break 20. That's unacceptable. If you're the quote unquote new face of the NBA and you're trying to lead your team to the Western Conference Finals, or to the finals, I should say, you can't do that. And yesterday, Anthony Edwards was really good. Don't get me wrong, but the most efficient player on that court was Karl-Anthony Towns, and he had foul trouble for most of the game. I think he had 25 points in 26 minutes or something like that because he had 4 fouls for most of the game. That's efficiency.
He's their star player. He carried
that team yesterday.
He's their star player. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I assume as Anthony Edwards gets older, because he's 22 right now.
Yeah, he's only been in the league a few years.
He'll start to mature, I'd assume, a little bit more and start learning like kind of where he fits in, because someo's going to humble him eventually, right? And maybe he's not being humbled yet.
The limit for him, talent wise, he is consistently getting better. He's becoming a better shooter. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think somebody needs to humble him also.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're going to get humbled the next game, and I mean, he tried guarding Luka yesterday. Luka humbled him a couple times, right? That 1-3 that Luka hit in his face from like 4 feet behind the 3-point line. Even he's like, "What the fuck?" Like when it went in, he's going to get humbled in the next game.
When Luka hit that shot over Rudy Gobert in Game 3, I think it was, and immediately started talking mad shit. I loved that. I think Rudy Gobert is extremely overrated.
Oh, I really want to know what he said to Anthony Edwards like after like in the third game, because he said he like leaned over and whispered something in his ear, and they asked him at the end of the game, like, "What did you say to Anthony Edwards?" The guy can't repeat that right now. I really want to know like what they're saying to each other.
Somebody made a meme of Luka looking over at people, and I think it was all from this playoffs where he looks at like their star player and he just has a smirk, and he's talking something, and it's got to be infuriating if your team's losing. Like, you know me, I hate losing. That pisses me off more than anything. I can only imagine being at the highest level, being an NBA player, having a guy talk shit to you because you're about to go home. I'd be so fucking mad. How these guys compose themselves, kudos to them, because I wouldn't be able to.
And I guarantee he talks shit in a funny way. Like he's like the kind of guy who says something that's just kind of funny, but also talking shit at the same time, in a very slide, like passive aggressive tone. But
it's also he looks like a guy that would be like working down the street. Like he looks like an average Joe. He doesn't look like an NBA player. He looks like he's kind of out of shape. Like he's somebody that might be working construction or something. And then here he is dominating a basketball game, just doing whatever the fuck he wants, getting triple doubles.
They showed a replay of Luka going to the basket the other night and like him going up and like fading back and hitting the shot. And the first comment was, "Joke's on you. This is Luka's actual game speed, not a slow replay."
And they still can't guard it. That's the craziest shit with Luka. He's so slow and he's very deliberate. Like whatever he's going to do on the court, you can tell like he's not shy of like, oh, I'm going to step back and do this 3, but they can't guard it. And like when he drives, he like spins all slow and just does like a little layup. Nothing they can do about it.
He's got that kind of slick Dirk Nowitzki kind of fadeaway shot, where he
100%
fades away and throws it up. It's like it looks just like that a little bit.
Sticking with basketball, but switching genders, we are going to move on to the WNBA a little bit. The whole reason I named this episode The Jealousy is because of the one and only Caitlin Clark. I don't know about you. This is just me personally, now that I have a daughter, especially. I find Caitlin Clark to be a fantastic basketball player. I think she's really fun to watch. I don't know if you saw yesterday, she had 30 points, her first 30-point game in the WNBA, which is nothing to slouch at. That's very impressive. But Caitlin Clark is exciting to watch. I loved watching her at Iowa. As soon as she got drafted, I didn't realize the WNBA starts that soon, so I'm pretty happy about it. Basically, she got drafted, and a week later, the season started. So I've gotten to watch. They're playing the fuck out of WNBA games on TV, and I'm very happy about that. NBA TV is playing them. They're on some local channels, ESPN. They're playing them all over the place, and I've been watching as much as I could. And Caitlin Clark is playing really well. However, I find it to be very, very strange, and this is why I called it The Jealousy. I feel like it's not even I wrote down Caitlin Clark hazing, but she's not getting hazed. I think she's literally being assaulted because, these women are so fucking jealous of her because she came in with all this hype, because she is getting this national publicity, but she's changed the game for the better. She's changed their lives for the better. WNBA teams now no longer fly like commercial flights. They have a private chartered jet. They never did that before. That's a new thing that they just started doing this year. Caitlin Clark is drawing attention, which means more sponsors, more money to the league, more money to the players, and they're treating her like shit. I don't know if you saw, even Angel Reese got the same kind of treatment. When people are setting screens on Caitlin Clark, they are full body checking her like a hockey player. Angel Reese the other day jumped up for a rebound. A girl, I forgot the girl's name, my apologies, or woman's name, whatever you want to say. She basically grabbed Angel Reese around the neck and pulled her down to the ground, almost like a choke slam, while she was just jumping up for a rebound. These rookies are getting assaulted because of jealousy. That's kind of how I see it. What are your thoughts?
So I went back and watched when you put this topic out. Of course, mind you, I was sleeping last night when you put this out. But this morning, I was going through some of these screens that Caitlin. I'll be honest, they're screens, right? I get them. Screens are tough. Screens come out of nowhere. You don't see them. I honestly, yes, I think they're probably harder than they need to be. But also, part of that's on your teammates, man. Playing basketball, it's on your team to call those screens out too. Like if your team's not calling that screen behind you, then you're not fully aware of it. I mean, that's I'm not saying that they're doing it on purpose, but you got this communication, right? But yeah, I think that they're probably these players don't honestly make a name for themselves, but they want to be the person who said, "Hey, did you see that block on Caitlin Clark that I got? Hey, did you see that block on Angel Reese that I got? Did you see that steal I got on her? You know what I mean? Or you see I checked her to the ground." They're within their right to do it. They're within the right to set a tough screen, right? These college basketball players, women, these women are getting better in college and coming to the WNBA, and they're better athletes than what the WNBA had before. In 10 years, this WNBA is going to be probably filled with a lot of good basketball players, right? So I don't think they're doing dirty. But I think it's kind of a welcome here. I kind of want to make a name for myself and go from there. But yeah, I think it sucks. It really does. But at the same time, hey, you play the game of basketball. This is not new. It's probably not going to change for a while. So tough up. You're a good basketball player and run through it. Throw out 30 points now. Go and win these games and just be better than them, right? You'll overcome it. But no, I see what you're saying though. But I don't think it's completely hazing.
And I give Caitlin Clark a ton of credit because she has taken a ton of really, really hard shots and she gets up from every one of them. There was one time where she did leave the game for like a half a quarter, something like that, because she hurt her ankle or something. She came right back, kept playing. She's powering through. She's not complaining. She's being a little over. She's under the microscope for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh shit. I just saw the Instagram comments. They don't show up. We got Dina says hello. Tara was on there. Tim said, what's up? My bad, everybody. I didn't realize we were getting these Instagram things. I have to redo the live video. So let me go back. I don't know what I'm doing here. All right. We are off Instagram. I will worry about that another time. It kicked us off because we only have an hour. There it is. It says you can re-add it. I don't know how. Instagram has disconnected the stream. They currently disconnect streams after 1 hour for most users. If you want to continue streaming on Instagram, you can remove this destination from the stream and re-add it. So let's do that. So I'm going to disconnect it.
I don't think I've ever seen Instagram comments come through this comment thread before, though.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I'm removing this destination from the stream. Now I will re-add it. Let's see if that works. I need to get the stream key. This is irritating. This is where Instagram needs to get shit together. So let's do that again. We are calling this episode The Jealousy. Apologies for everybody while I do this behind the scenes stuff. The Jealousy, make it public. Next. Stream key, copy. StreamYard. Let me add that key. This is fucking ridiculous. Come on, Zuckerberg, you fucking piece of shit.
They're owned by the same fucking people, too.
Right. That's why he's fucking with this whole thing. All right. I think we are. Give it a second. We're going to go live here on Instagram. But while I wait for that, and we are live. All right, cool. Thank you, everybody, for checking in if you were on Instagram.
But kind of to the point, though, what I think is going to happen here is Caitlin Clark obviously brought a lot of eyes to the women's basketball, right? College. Hell, I watched that LSU Iowa game. I think everyone watched that LSU Iowa game. It was probably one, I think it's the most watched college basketball game, women's, of all time.
Yes.
But in about 10 years here, I think you're going to see a generational shift of these athletes where that WNBA just gets more competitive, where you have all these players coming up and being the Caitlin Clarks of the next generation. So I agree. I think she's a inspiration to her time. I'm really curious to see what happens here. But once she catches her groove, I think once she gets used to the speed of the WNBA, the power, kind of that team blends a little bit more and she kind of gets the communication down pack, I think that she's going to be fun to watch. She already is fun to watch, but even more fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, I love talented athletes. I don't care what team you play for, gender, I don't care, race, anything like that. If you're a fantastic athlete and you're really good at your sport, I love watching you play. And Caitlin Clark is no exception. I think Caitlin Clark, I'm not going to say she's the LeBron James of the WNBA. If anything, the comparisons that I've heard is Steph Curry, because she likes to shoot those deep threes. She can pass the ball really well. I do like that comparison. So if she can go into the WNBA and just kind of dominate and play well, and again, take the game to the next level, put it on a global market, I love it. I think it's awesome that she's great at what she does. I'm not knocking anybody. I've watched the WNBA and NBA before. You had Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, you've had so many really good players. Sue Bird, just to name a few off the top of my head. Angel Reese she's a rookie, but she was a fucking fantastic basketball player at LSU. You have these women that are phenomenal basketball players, and now the WNBA is finally getting some eyes on it. It makes me wish that the Cleveland Rockers still existed.
What's funny to me is that, the biggest knock in the WNBA, which we all joke about, is obviously the attendance, which has kind of shifted a little bit this year.
Sure.
And also the money they get paid, right? So it's true. The base salary for these players is not much, but what Caitlin Clark, I think, and Reese and some of these new people coming out have learned is that it's not about what you make as base pay. Your endorsements speak volumes. I think Caitlin Clark's making well over to some $3 million in just endorsements alone on top of what she makes for her base salary. And I'm sure as this gets more eyes on it, the base salary for the WNBA is only going to go up, right? Which will then will entice more people to be like, fuck, all right, I want to go play basketball for the women's basketball team and go to WNBA now, right? So it gets better, right? It gets more people and more teams are generated. You get more league revenue. So it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah, the NBA as a whole is worth billions. I couldn't even put a number on it. Each organization is worth $1 billion at least. WNBA, not the case.
Thousands.
Yeah, honestly, it's like $20 to buy a WNBA team. But no, it's just not worth that much because, as you said, they weren't getting the attendance. They weren't getting the advertising and the promotions and stuff like that. Now they are. So that's going to increase revenue. That's going to increase the money that the players can earn, which is fantastic. Again, as I said earlier, before they used to just fly commercially, from my understanding. Now, because Caitlin Clark came in and there's more eyes, they have more money to throw around. They have chartered flights. These women are getting on a private jet to fly to their next game. That's something they never got to do before because of the publicity that they're getting and because of the viewership. So instead of, I get it, you got to be tough on the rookie. You kind of want to say, like, especially if you're on the other team, if you're playing against Caitlin Clark, yes, it's great what she's doing for the game. It's awesome that she's helping your team now get some national attention. However, I kind of understand, like, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to go ahead and when I set the screen here, I'm going to do it a little harder than normal.
Sure.
I get it.
Just trying to make a name for yourself. I think you're just trying to be that poster person, right? Because that's a still frame now. That person that checked her, that screened her, that stood over her for a second,
like bent backwards in half. Like it's pretty funny looking, if I'm being honest.
Well, she folded like a chair. Caitlin did.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, you talk to some people about basketball, and like that's a screen that you would see in like the '80s or something, and you're just like, that's just a hard basketball play. No problems at all. No one sees anything wrong with it. But again, Caitlin Clark's getting up from it. Just brush your shoulder off, get up, and move on to the next play. So kudos to her. I love watching WNBA though. It's like my new favorite thing. I throw on a Caitlin Clark game all the time. One thing I wanted to talk about that we did not get a chance to talk about last week. You were there in Valhalla. Scottie Scheffler, the incident heard around the world. Some news came out today regarding that situation. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
For me, it's why the fuck are these cops trying to make shit up? And now they have to throw the case out because they got busted for lying about all the shit they claimed happened. When that story initially came out, they basically said Scottie Scheffler tried to basically kill a police officer. He drove a football field down the road with this cop attached to his car, trying to get him to fall off. And the cop got all these injuries. They had to take him to the hospital. Turned out none of that happened.
Nope. What's even more frustrating is the fact that the bigger story should have been the guy who got pancaked by a bus earlier that day. But that's not the story.
Totally disregarded. Nobody cares about that.
It's this poor old man who volunteers at this golf thing, walks in front of a bus and gets pancaked. But the bigger story is, oh my God, Scottie Scheffler got arrested and thrown in jail for 2 hours. Yeah, and it's funny, you watch the video because there's so many different videos now coming out, like camera angles they had, and he literally pulls in, stops his car, and you see the cop like run over. He stops his car. I think the cop runs into the car because he stopped so quick. There's the injury that he sustained, right? And then you see him pull out Scottie and arrest him. I think the funnier part is the fact that they threw him in Jump Orange to get a mugshot of him, which I thought was fake. There's no way they took him to jail that quick. It was
like the Vince McMahon mugshot.
Right. Like, this has to be fake. There's no way it's real. No, it was real. And I guess for 2 hours, he just stretched and he got out and went and played golf that day. Right. But the next day,
he should have won the tournament first and foremost. I feel like
that would have been great. Yeah,
but the next, you can't come out and lay an egg. You have to win the tournament after that. You are the fucking biggest name in golf in
number one in the world,
5 years, and then you don't win after that. That would have been badass.
He the next day walking around the course, there was already free Scotty shirts with T-shirts with his mugshot on them, which was hilarious to me. But no, I think it's bullshit. But I think what he should have talked more about the thing, and the reason why he did go around somebody or why the cops were there were because of the guy who got hit by a bus, right? But how the cop fucked that up, I'm not quite sure. But what a story.
For me, the really fucked up thing about it, if you think about it, is imagine if this were just a citizen, a normal citizen that tried to drive through. A cop decides to just make up all this bullshit, and he doesn't have the financial resources like Scotty Scheffler and the national media covering it. If anything, some other guy's just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm going to go to jail for the next 20 years because they're going to say I tried to kill this police officer, when in reality, they didn't do anything. And it's just fucked up that this is coming out. Like, this is why, and what I think is going to happen, or not going to happen, if you will, I don't think anything's going to happen to this police officer.
No.
Like, there is so much evidence that they fucking completely embellished the story.
He didn't have his body cam on. That was one clue right there, right? No body cam.
Yeah.
Not even on.
And then now that it came out that this whole story was fabricated and this entire story clearly didn't happen, for me, it's like really, really fucked up when you think about it. And the fact that they're just like, all right, they dropped charges on Scotty Scheffler as if that was like them doing a nice thing for him. Not the cops lied. That's what they should come out and say.
Shouldn't have even been arrested.
They dropped all the charges. Good for Scotty. He's going to be a free man. Instead, they should come out and be like, yeah, the cops got caught lying, and we are going to suspend, discipline, whatever, these police officers. But this is the end of it. They dropped the charges. You'll probably never hear about this again.
Yeah. No, it's Louisville, man. I mean, honestly, being down there's a whole different world. They take care of their own, and I think this was the Louisville PD and a Louisville prosecutor just trying to get a name for themselves. They saw an opportunity. Oh shit, Scotty Scheffler. Like, and then they tried playing a game of, well, I didn't know who he was. The motherfucker was in a PGA licensed vehicle that had like markings all over it. He had his tag on him that had literally Scotty Scheffler on it. And he said multiple times, my name's Scotty Scheffler. Like, you don't know who you're at a golf tournament covering it. You don't know who Scotty Scheffler is. Come on. Even people who aren't golf people know who Scotty Scheffler is.
Right. I mean, I'm not the biggest golf fan, but when I heard the name Scotty Scheffler, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a golfer. But don't get me, I mean, obviously I watch sports. I watch ESPN. I know the names more than other people, but, it's just really fucked up to think about that a public figure, all this happened to, and again, it's just going to be swept under the rug instead of, there needs to be accountability for police officers. But I digress. We're not here to get political.
Wasn't he suspended for like a week without pay while they did the investigation or something? I thought someone said that.
Usually they don't get suspended without pay. It's suspended with pay if you're a police officer.
Oh, okay.
The unions, from what I've always heard, like just listening to radio shows or whatever, basically it takes a lot to get in trouble. I don't know if you saw this. It's off topic a little bit, but there was a police officer in, I don't remember where, they were just talking about on the radio this morning. Actually, there's a viral video, if you will, going around about an officer who picks up a woman who is kind of dressed a little skankily, and she basically starts telling the cop like, hey, are you single? Are you married? Whatever. Like, I'm ready to fuck. Like, she's telling him basically like, she's trying to get out of the ticket. So she's trying to kind of flirt with him a little bit. And next thing you know, the cop's telling her like, hey, this is all being recorded. Be careful what you say. Like, just so you know, this is all recording. And then all of a sudden he gets out of his cruiser. He pulls into like a residential neighborhood, just him and the woman, turns off his body camera. And then about 20 minutes later has to call one of his partners or one of his colleagues and goes, hey, do you guys have a key to unlock the back door? I got locked into my cruiser. So he parked into a residential neighborhood. Fuck this broad. Got the door closed behind him, got locked in his cruiser and had to get unlocked. And as he's getting out, he was trying to like tell the guy like, oh, I was just checking her cuffs and I got locked into the thing. And his buddy's like, hey, careful what you say. My camera's on. So they're clearly trying to cover this shit up. Nothing's probably going to happen to this guy because there's no technical evidence because his body camera was turned off. But it's just such an abuse of power.
What's the girl saying?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I honestly don't know. I just saw the video of like all this evidence, but I haven't heard any statements from her.
No, I mean, could you imagine this is stuff that happens nowadays? Like what took place back in the day, like
oh my God,
what has taken place back in the day,
That's literally why body cameras had to be invented and be enforced. Well, I want to talk a little bit about NFL news that's happening around, and there were some interesting stories. We're going to skip the Stetson Bennett first because we're talking about police. We're talking about crimes. I figure what better than to talk about Dak Prescott and Brandon McManus. Yes, we have AFC North because I'm just going with what George has on here, and it doesn't really make sense to just do a Browns background if we're going to talk about other NFL teams. So I figured this one's the best one. It's got the NFL logo in the middle, and I don't have anything to edit. But the story going around is Brandon McManus was getting drunk on airplanes and sexually harassing flight attendants. And
so just a typical Tuesday is what you're saying?
Typical Tuesday for an NFL player, but in the almighty eyes of the league who are trying to show off their squeaky clean image that they pretend to have, they are pissed because apparently they have strict rules. You were not supposed to have alcohol on your team flights. This was after players and coaches got DUIs and shit directly after games because they were drinking on the flight. And the NFL tried to crack down and said, you're not allowed to have alcohol in your flights. The fact that Brandon McManus was doing this to multiple women have come forward means that this is a regular occurrence. So the NFL is going to be really pissed that he was drinking and the Jaguars were allowing alcohol. And the funny thing is that women are coming out saying that they were basically sexually assaulted. And the headline for most stories is, oh, they had alcohol on the flight. That's a no-no. Nothing to do with the women. No one really cares about the women and what happened to them. It's more so like, wow, the NFL is going to be really mad about that. Which is ironic because the NFL gets a ton of money from alcohol companies. But if you have alcohol on your flight, huge no-no. Kind of ironic. Same thing with sports betting and things like that. They're willing to take the blood money, but God forbid you actually use the product.
What's funnier, not really funny, is the fact that it's a kicker, not a big-time player that's out there. I guess the only way to really get anything is just sexually assault someone, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah, so the reason I lumped these two together because we haven't even talked about this. So Dak Prescott was accused, allegedly, of sexually assaulting a woman. He has adamantly denied it and claimed, whatever, that he claimed his innocence and says this is just a hit piece. Basically, they're coming after him for money. But it's still out there. There are still allegations. Brandon McManus, same thing. Multiple allegations for him. When does the NFL get Judge Sue L. Robinson involved? When do they give Dak Prescott and Brandon McManus their 11-plus game suspension that Deshaun Watson got? I am going to be so goddamn mad if there is not some sort of punishment. I don't give a fuck if Dak Prescott's claiming innocence because Deshaun Watson did the same thing. If Dak Prescott settles with this woman out of court just to get her to stop this whatever suit she's going after, he had better be suspended for a long, long time.
So the only difference is 1 verse 22, I guess, right? Or whatever Watson had to come out against him. But 1 verse even 2, I think you're onto something. I think there needs to be something where the NFL takes the stance of putting their foot down. I'm sorry about my dog, by the way, if you hear her in the background. She thinks that her house gets attacked by other dogs who walk by.
I'll do this then.
There you go. Talking about the dogs. But I think that there needs to be something kind of a hard stance with the NFL that anything like this, any accusation, anything, you have it go in front of a panel, kind of like Watson did. You have someone sit on it and kind of go over the whole thing. And if something does proceed, like you said, as a buyout or a settlement or something that comes out where there's facts in the case that prove that he was guilty, I 100% agree that something like that needs to be the standard going forward for every NFL player. I agree. But I comparing the two, I don't know. I don't know enough yet, but Watson had some skeletons in his closet. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I just look at it as Deshaun Watson had no criminal charges filed against him. He denied any wrongdoing. He's an adult. He had what he claimed was consensual sexual relations with women. That's not a crime. You know how many athletes have probably fucked hundreds and hundreds of women? Like, it's probably a regular occurrence for a lot of these guys.
Sure.
The fact that the NFL, Sue L. Robinson said Deshaun should be suspended for, 4 games initially, she said, and then the NFL is like, we're going to triple it. Again, for me, you better fucking Dak Prescott and Brandon McManus better see some punishment because
it's going to be swept under the rug.
That's what I'm afraid of, to be honest. and that's very unfortunate.
When did the Dak Prescott thing come out? I didn't see. I guess I didn't see.
That was months ago. That was months ago.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. I don't remember the Dak Prescott thing, and nothing's come of it since then, huh? He's been accused. He denied it, and that's pretty much where it sits.
Basically, it. Yeah, kind of quiet. It's interesting how that works.
Has the accused person or the accuser gone and filed something with the court or anything like that yet? Or
I think, but don't quote me. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while since I've really read into it. I figured with the Brandon McManus thing, it was a good time to talk about Deshaun Watson.
This would be a great time for that lawyer who got all the women together for Watson to just run a business.
Was it Tony Busby? I think his name was.
Anybody who's been sexually assaulted by an NFL player, I will represent you in the court of law.
And the Browns and Cowboys play week 1. So assuming Dak Prescott's not suspended, you could just have a whole suite at Browns Stadium with all of these women accusing NFL players. You might have to get 2 suites, if I'm being honest. There's probably a lot of them. But yeah, I just find it funny that like Deshaun Watson was demonized by people, and he is still to this day. Anytime you see any article written about him, check the comments. Everybody's just saying
sexual
he's a
assault,
shit,
predator, rapist. Yeah,
he should be banned from the NFL. He's whatever. And then you have other players that get accused of things like this. Nothing. I haven't seen people protesting Brandon McManus on social media. Just Deshaun Watson. Is it a race thing? I don't know. Is it because one's a quarterback, one's a kicker? I don't know. It's just interesting that this happens. And same thing with Dak Prescott. I don't give a shit if he claims innocence. It's only one girl. Where are all these people protesting him and outraged that he's still able to go to practice every day and he's not, locked up in prison or something like that? It's just weird how the people act a little differently towards certain people.
Did anything ever come out of the Jerry Jones thing? Remember how that girl was suing him for like DNA testing to prove that he was the father of her? Do you remember that story a couple months ago?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly.
Did it come out? I'm curious. I didn't follow up on it, but I'm wondering if because I guess he got sued and he was basically told by the court of law that you need to submit DNA so we can confirm if you are the father or not. I didn't know the results. I guess
I don't know I honestly don't know what happened with that. I wouldn't doubt if Jerry Jones paid them to fuck off basically in a nice quiet way, and that'll probably be in his 10-piece documentary that Netflix is supposedly doing about him, which I'm not that interested in Jerry Jones, if I'm being honest. If they did like an 1.5-hour documentary, I'd probably watch it, but apparently they're going to do like a multiple part Jerry Jones documentary. And I really don't think I could stomach watching a whole thing of him. I don't give a fuck personally.
So nothing has changed since February 29th of 2024, when the judge compelled Jerry Jones that he has to submit by a DNA to see if that, oh, never mind. She's dropped the lawsuit. So
that means he gave her money. That's exactly what that means.
Wow, that's crazy. That money makes the world go round, my friend.
Yeah, good for Jerry Jones. I mean, when you got that kind of money, he paid off his daughter to leave him alone. That's kind of fucked up when you think about it, but probably had her sign an NDA. So once Jerry Jones, which probably not too far away, when he finally croaks, you're probably going to be allowed to.
6 years.
No, that's giving him a lot of credit. When he finally croaks, I'm assuming she'll be able to come out and say whatever the fuck she wants, and she can be honest about that they paid her off and that's definitely her father, whatever. But
he'll have the book "If I Did It."
Yeah, If I Did Her. That's for her. Wrote it about her mom.
If I did her.
And then I mentioned Stetson Bennett because I don't know if you saw what happened, but he's
back after
he was drafted by the Rams last year, and then he stepped away from football, and then now he's back, and he came out and he was open and he said it was mental health. He decided to step away from football for the entire year last year, and he came back, and the Rams are welcoming him back with open arms. And I find it interesting. I'm a big mental health advocate for sure. But it is kind of funny, and it's kind of sucks for the common man, if you will, because if you or I were having mental health issues, whatever, we could probably take a day or 2 off work. That's about it.
Sure.
This dude took an entire year off of work because he was drafted. That's work.
Still got paid.
And yeah, I'm assuming they still gave him some money. He probably didn't get a full contract, but he was still making enough. He made more money by taking a year off work than both of us probably made combined working our jobs every day. He then came back, and again, they welcomed him back with open arms. Fully get, if you have mental health issues, get that shit worked out. But what a shame in our country that the normal man has to just deal with it. And, most jobs aren't going to grant you that much time off to get your mental health issues worked out, whatever his may be. He got a full year to stay away from the NFL, which, I mean, he was already like goddamn 28 years old when he got drafted. He was old as fuck. And he got to take a year off for mental health and then just gets to come back like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it sounds like the Rams are kind of taking it like, that's a personal, but they're really like on his side. Like they're really supporting this decision. I just never heard of an NFL team be like, well, okay, yeah, we'll give you a year. Like, fuck us, right? I mean, we drafted you, but I guess we'll find someone else to take your spot for a year. But I don't know. I mean, there's more to it. Maybe there's something more to what happened. And I read the article where they're like, well, he just off of 2 seasons of taking the Georgia Bulldogs to a national championship. Like, okay, and what?
Oh,
like,
yeah, you poor thing. You had to win football games and get a ton of pussy and then get drafted the NFL. Wow, right. Man, that must be really hard.
Is that your mental thing? Is that you started hating the game that you've because I said the article's like you took a year off to fall in love with the game again. Like, I don't know if I'm you, but if I'm the owner of the Rams or the GM, I'm like, okay, we're done. No, I don't have
if
time
you
for
gave
this.
me a multi-million-dollar contract, I could fucking love most things. There's not many things I couldn't love for one of those contracts. Let me tell you.
I'll fake it till I make it. Pay me whatever you want. $1 million, I will do whatever you need me to do, sir.
I will be the greatest backup at whatever position you want me to be in history for that kind of money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to amount to anything. I mean, is he like the number 2 backup? Like, is he right behind Stanford?
I'd have to double check the depth chart. I don't remember who they have. I think they had Carson Wentz last year, but Carson Wentz left. He's with the Chiefs now. So he might be their backup. I really don't remember what their quarterback room looks like.
Curious how that goes this year. I just didn't think he's ever going to amount to anything.
I didn't think he was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he won national championships, but winning in college does not translate to being a good NFL quarterback. I don't understand why people think that.
He's short. He's not very tall. He's a short.
He's
dude.
old. He's not athletic. He's just a decent quarterback that was able to win with a loaded Georgia team. That Georgia defense, especially, had more guys drafted than any fucking college defense like in NFL history. It was one of the best college defenses of all time.
What's up, George?
So yeah. Oh shit, I forgot where. Yeah, I took the comments off the screen. There he is. George, what's going on, dude? Everything's working great here. Thank you for setting this all up for us. I think I'm doing an all right job. But yeah, so I just thought it was interesting that Stetson Bennett can step away from the game of football for an entire calendar year. And they're just like, oh, hey, come back. You're good.
You think Joe Burrow can do that if he wants to? I mean, granted, if he was healthy but still stepped away, for mental issues. You think the Bengals would be okay with that?
So people would talk shit and they'd be like, what a pussy. How are you going to step away? He's a fucking quitter. Stetson Bennett as a backup, they're like, all right, good for him. Take care of that shit.
So many double standards in the NFL. So many double standards.
The way it is. It's a man's league. Switching sports here. We got a lot to talk about here with the
smaller balls.
The red hot Cleveland Guardians. They have won 11 out of 12 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Who are these guys?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. As soon as Shane Bieber went down, I was like, all right, season's over. They're fucked. Overall, the starting pitching has been okay. A few guys having some issues. Xavier Curry didn't look that great. Tristan McKenzie's been kind of hit or miss, but the team is finding ways to win. They have arguably the best bullpen in all of baseball. Offensively, they're doing shit. Right now, Jose Ramirez is the best player in baseball. He is just white hot. Stephen Kwan is currently rehabbing in Columbus, which means that's good. He will be hopefully back up with the big league squad soon. They're good. They're legit. I mean, we have played 1/3 of the end of the MLB season, and the Guardians are still in first place. The Guardians are still winning. For me, I was waiting for the wheels to fall off. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a long season.
It still can happen. Let's not jinx ourselves here.
The Kansas City Royals are right behind us. This is actually a pretty tight division. I think the Guardians were on like a fucking 10-game winning streak, and the Royals were on like a 9-game winning streak. So all of those wins, we weren't even spacing out the gap between us and second place because they were winning right there with us. So going to be fun. This is going to be a very fun baseball season. And I am excited to see what the Stephen Vogt-led Guardians can do. And is this team legit?
What's the big reason for the change this year? What do you think it is? Do you think it's the manager? Do you think it's just the team coming together more? What's something's clicked more this year than last year? I don't know. I can't put my finger on
it. It's hard to say. I think a lot of it is just experience. You've got guys going into they're now playing another year. The other thing too is I think it is the locker room issue or not issue, but a locker room connection. You have Stephen Vogt, who retired as a player like a few years ago. He hasn't been out of an act being a player for that long. They brought back Austin Hedges, who apparently is just the most fun teammate to have. He gets his teammates, even though he doesn't play every day, he plays like once a week. He gets the teammates to basically treat every game as if it's like a championship game. Like if you win the game afterwards, they're celebrating, they're passing out like a fucking belt for the MVP of the day. If they lose, they're same thing. They're going to sit down, they're going to talk about what they did wrong, where they can improve, what they need to do to get better the next day. He's basically a coach. He's a player coach.
That's great.
You mix that in with Stephen Vogt, who again is young. He can connect with these guys. I'm not saying Tito wasn't able to connect because Tito was a fantastic manager, but eventually when you start getting into your 60s, 70s, whatever, it's going to be harder for you to connect with a bunch of 20-year-olds, 20-ish year olds, whatever. Maybe Stephen Vogt just being a little closer in age makes things a little more relatable for the players.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got Bo Naylor, who now almost has a full season of MLB under his belt. Josh Naylor is playing like an all-star. Again, Stephen Kwan was the best hitter in baseball till he got hurt. Jose Ramirez,
you don't even know if he's gone right now with how good the team's playing. You're not missing Kwan right now.
Not at
when
all.
He comes back, what an addition that's going to be.
Kyle Manzardo, who they brought up a few weeks ago, who a lot of people were like, they were expecting him to hit a home run in his very first at bat. And it's so hard for a young baseball player to have success instantly. It takes a while. And the Guardians have stuck with Manzardo. They've used him sparingly. They've put him in the right situation. He's boosted his batting average to like almost 250, if I'm not mistaken. In the beginning, he was batting like less than barely 100 because he was swinging at everything. He wasn't being patient. Then he took a little bit of time. He worked on some things. It takes time for baseball players, especially. They're bringing up these young guys. They're having success. They're being patient. Everyone gets along. I think the locker room is just the clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. They are a tight-knit group, and I think it's great. I love what I'm watching.
This is their best start.
Didn't suck ass, but
I'm
loving it.
I know it sucks. This is their best start in history. I think something said the other day. It's their best start in history of the Indians/Guardians.
And I also saw some stats that said basically when they start with this similar type of win-loss record, this many games into the season, the last 3 times they've done this, they've either won or gone to the World Series in those seasons. So I'm not one of those guys that looks back and just goes, okay, well, hey, they did this in May, so they must win the World Series, and that's just science.
Let's just knock on wood that everybody stays healthy, and
even if they don't, hey, they're still doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Guardians have been really fun to watch. They're about to actually start here against Colorado, the rubber match against them to win the series. So that'll be exciting. Sticking with baseball, there was a topic that I wanted to talk to with Kyle. Actually, first and foremost, for Chipper, should have brought this up when he was on the horn. Ronald Acuna, torn ACL, done for the season. MVP caliber player, done.
I think that takes the Braves out of the conversation for a while, maybe.
I agree. The Atlanta Braves, arguably one of the best teams in baseball, now lose their best player, and not going to be easy to come back from that. Part of me feels bad for Chipper because, it's his favorite team. But then at the end of the day, he's really cocky as a Braves fan, so it's kind of funny. I haven't really seen him post much about the Braves lately, ever since Acuna got hurt.
You win a World Series, you kind of brag a little bit, I guess, right? So
yeah, he was a big part of that. He was a big factor with the Braves. I still don't understand why he's a Braves fan. It makes no sense to me. I get it. He likes Chipper Jones, but Chipper Jones has been retired for 25 years.
Stop asking questions.
Yeah. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to give that little nugget of information. I was looking through Major League Baseball news over the last couple of days, and obviously that was a big blow for the Atlanta Braves. So sorry, Chipper. Doesn't look like the Braves are bringing you home that hardware this year, buddy. Sticking with Major League Baseball, I wanted to talk about this big news that just came out yesterday, I think, or like the day before. Some statistical organization spent the last 3 years or something like that going over Negro League statistics, and the Major League Baseball has decided to put those together. They are allowing the Negro League stats to be considered official Major League Baseball stats. So we have a new number one batting champion of all time in Major League Baseball. And it is Josh Gibson, I think his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Gibson. Now, interesting, because it was a different game back then. And obviously it's different when you have one race playing against one race, and the same can be said for white people. Back when you had Babe Ruth playing, Babe Ruth didn't play against African Americans because the league was segregated still. They were not allowing. Jackie Robinson didn't play until the 40s. That's when he came to Major League Baseball. So what are your thoughts on all of this? I have a take. I'd like to get your thoughts on it first, though. But I want to hear what your thoughts are on them doing this.
I mean, we've all mentioned the fact that the baseball was a different game back in the day. Like, I mean, Babe Ruth's been sitting on top of the pile for the longest time. And would Babe Ruth be as successful in today's day and age? Absolutely not. I think that he would not have as many home runs. His slugging percentage would not be as what it was because he'd be facing different pitchers. Same goes for the Negro League, right? I mean, different game back then. But if we're going to count the stats of Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, all those players that came up through, Ty Cobb, Joe DiMaggio, then you need to start counting them because they played the same game. You know, some might argue better competition. I don't know. Maybe not. We don't know. Like I don't know. I've never really gotten the history on the Negro League players as much as I have in the last day or so when I really dug into this story. And my understanding is that even though this company spent 3 years digging into the statistics of every game, there's still some games that are still not even accounted for because the scorecards were incomplete. Some of the stats weren't even added incorrectly, right? So this Gibson guy, who's now the best basically the top of the food chart, he could be even better than what's actually given statistics for because there's games where they aren't even recorded. I guess he had a 4 home run game that wasn't complete or something wasn't complete that isn't counting towards his stats, right? I'm for it. I think make it fair, make it fine, whatever. It gives some. I think these stats are going to be broken anyways, and as the years go on. But I'm fine with it. I think it's cool. I think it's great that they're doing that. I think it took longer than what probably needed to, but good for them. I'm sure there's a lot of people right now screaming from the graves, going, "This is bullshit." But whatever.
So my take on it might be considered a hot take. I don't mean it to be. This is just my honest opinion, my 2 cents. You know me, I don't sugarcoat anything. I feel like they need to have separate wings and separate statistical categories. I feel like they need to have...
Whoa, segregation take. All right, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am. Adam, what's going on, man? Thoughts and prayers. I saw you guys got something going on. I don't mean to pry. Obviously, you don't have to tell us any information. That's your personal thing. But I
keep with you, Adam.
Say thoughts and prayers to you and your family. So definitely thinking about you, man. Hope everything's okay. But yeah, so I don't mean segregation like that.
No, continue your racist rant. Go ahead. We're good.
It goes both ways. I feel like there should be separate statistical categories for the Negro League and for the pre-integration of letting African Americans when Jackie Robinson started. I think when Jackie Robinson made it to Major League Baseball, that's when stats should start for baseball. Because, like you said, Babe Ruth never had to face an African American who could have been 100 times better than him. Who knows what could have happened if everything was normal like it is now? For us, it's just second nature.
Right.
Like we don't even think twice about it. Back then, obviously, it was the worst thing in the world to them. That's why, different times. But I look at it as, I think they should have a separate. You have your Negro League stats, and then you have your stats for before Jackie Robinson came into Major League Baseball, before it was an even playing field, before there was no segregation, when everybody got to play, that made the playing field, pun intended, we're talking about baseball, fair for everybody.
So you wouldn't even, according to your scenario, you wouldn't even be counting Babe Ruth stuff then, huh?
I would count it, but it would have an asterisk next to it, and it would be in a separate category.
The white
category. Kudos to him for everything that he did, but it was pre-integration.
Okay, I just love this whole we're circling around. I'm just gonna keep jabbing at it. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I own it. I just feel like it's not fair both ways.
Sure.
So as you said, the Negro League stats, there were so much information, and it probably happened too with Major League Baseball, but before they let African Americans in. There's probably stats that we'll never even see. There's scorecards that were ruined. There's numbers that were fudged that we don't actually know about. But I also just think that because it wasn't an even playing field that it is now, I think that changes everything. I feel like there were probably some African American players that were so fucking good that they would have changed all of history had they been allowed to play in Major League Baseball, and vice versa. Maybe there were some white people that we never heard of or something like that because some information got fudged or whatever. So there's plenty of different things that's why I just feel like it should be a separate wing, if you will, of Major League Baseball stats. I feel like they should separate all the stats. You can have your baseball
you keep
stats.
Saying that separate. I
just
love it.
Do pre-1947 or whatever year Jackie Robinson came, and that's when they should start it. And you have all your stats that way, because then eventually it became fair and everybody played together. At least that's my opinion. I don't know. Again, I know it's considered a hot take because it seems like you're like separating race or something like that, but I don't mean it that way. I just mean because it wasn't an even playing field for everybody, it shouldn't be combined. It was totally separate. That's just me. It'll never happen. They're doing this new thing, and again, you now have an all-time batting average leader in Josh Gibson. It's changed the record books for Major League Baseball in multiple categories overnight, which is kind of fucked up. That's why, again, I don't think they should have done this. I think they should have just taken away everybody before everything was integrated.
13,000 plate appearances versus 2,500. That's a big difference. Your batting average would be normally higher in that case. I agree.
Very much so. So that's why, I don't like the way that
we're in an era right now that you don't, by not doing it, speaks more volumes than doing it. Does that make sense?
And again, right? I'm totally cool with them, making everyone aware that they have all this. They spent years compiling all these statistics. Kudos. Present it. Let everybody know, holy shit, these guys were really fucking good.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily need to make it because, I don't know the history of it. Were they playing in the same size ballparks? Like how accurate are all of these stats? Was everything the same? Were they using the same type of baseball, same type of bats? Like what rules did they have? I don't know any of this information. I guess you could probably look it up, but I don't know. For me, again, I just feel like when everyone was playing together, when everybody was loving everybody, even though they all still very much so hated African Americans,
hated each other. Yeah.
When everyone was able to play together, at least that's when you should start all this.
I can see I see your point. I see your point. I think there's going to be people. I'm curious what Triple G's opinion is on this. Have you asked him yet? Have you reached out to him about it?
No, I haven't, because I don't want to get him to. He's going to get all riled up, and he's going to want to talk about what Negro League cards he's going to be looking for at the National when the card convention comes to town. So I'm saving that for an in-person discussion, because I don't need him texting me of like.
We'll broach this on Saturday then when we see him and see what his opinion is on it, I guess.
Yeah, because he's going to have names that I've never heard of. He's going to be like, yeah, have you ever heard of Saki Robinson? He played for the whoever in the Negro. I'm like, who the fuck is that? And Greg's going to be like, yeah, I'm getting his card. Look at it. It's on the back of this Cracker Jack box. It's going for $8,000. Like, dude, how the fuck do you know all this?
I can't wait to go to that, because I told Greg when I saw him last week, I'm going to that. So let me know what day you guys are going, because just watching.
Yeah,
Greg's
we haven't planned that out yet. He's going every single day.
I know.
He's getting like the VIP pass. For me personally, it's going to really depend on the autographs, because like I've really slowed down with my collecting shit just because there's not much that's really getting to me anymore. Like I want a Michael Jordan autograph or a LeBron James autograph. Those are my next two that I'm not spending that kind of money on to get, because they cost thousands of dollars and I'm very cheap. But those are the two that I'd be most interested in. And as of right now, the list of the names of the people that are going to be at the National are not that exciting for me.
I heard it's very Pittsburgh favored.
Yeah, which sucks. Because
Palomalu, Hines Ward, Bettis, is those the ones?
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, well, trust me, I heard about it all day yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't even look, to be honest. I take that back. I did look, and the list so far doesn't really have anybody that's exciting me too much. There's one, like Johnny Manziel would be cool to get an autograph from in person, just to say that like I was a foot away from him. I got to say what's up to Johnny Manziel. To me, that's funny as a Browns fan. Give the numbers of Cobb and Ruth similar amount of games played as Gibson. Like what was Cobb's career average through 250? Yeah. Or 2,500 plate appearances. I agree, Steve. I feel like the numbers are just way too out there. That's why it needs to all be separate until you just want to combine everybody. It was all fair. They were all playing together. They were using the same ball, same bats, same fields. Everything was the same. Again, the numbers are fucking weird. But I digress. It's just the day and age that we're in. They're appeasing everybody and making this. Again, it's cool. It's awesome that they've unearthed all these stats and they're going to show everybody how good Josh Gibson was back in the day. That's awesome. That's really cool. But again, I don't think it should then automatically just go, by the way, because we found this, he's the best baseball player of all time. And all of a sudden there's people that are like, I never even fucking heard of this dude until yesterday. And now he's the number one baseball player of all time.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure Ty Cobb's family right now is probably filing a petition somewhere, but
like imagine if the National Basketball Association, somebody went back and like watched old footage and found somebody that shot from what would have been a 3-pointer. And they decided to change the numbers for people and say, well, he actually had this many points in his career because we're going to give him 3-pointers. Like, you just can't do that. I feel like it's weird. It's fucking with things. Yeah, the American League and National League were completely different. So many things. I don't know. I don't like this. I feel like it's just it's too messy. I don't like it. You're changing history just to try to appease. Again, it's really cool that you found all these stats. You can present them to people. You can let everybody see them. They don't have to be the new gospel for baseball. I don't know. It's weird. But I've also, again, I've been honest. I don't feel like Babe Ruth's numbers should be praised because, again, he never got to play against African Americans. You weren't letting him play. His stats shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't like it.
Babe Ruth, the face of MLB, whether you like it or not. It's always.
I hate racism, like, Kyle. I don't understand why they didn't let black people play. It's weird to me.
Speaking of the guy who just talked about segregation for the last 10 minutes, okay, I believe you. It's fine.
I'm not for segregation. I think that they should only count stats for when they let everybody play together. That's when it was fair. That's when it was fun. Everything before that, garbage. Throw it out the window. Fuck Babe Ruth.
Well, calm down now. Come on.
No,
that's a fat guy's that's a idol right there. Fat man went out there and ate hot dogs in center field and knocked out home runs. Like, that's
because he didn't have to face black people.
I mean, try harder next time, I guess. I don't know. Stop.
They tried really hard. They tried really hard. They got fucking fire hosed. It did not go well for them when they tried shit like that. That's why we should just erase all of that history. It'll never happen, but whatever. But yeah, no, I wanted to get your opinion on that. That was huge news that they're doing that for the Negro League stuff. Again, it's really cool, really interesting to see that they've come out with all this information that you probably never would have heard of. But I don't know. I just feel like just all of a sudden waking up and being like, by the way, new leaders in every category. You're like, what the fuck? This is so weird.
I can't wait to hear Greg's opinion now. I really am.
Yeah, actually, that's a good. I didn't even think to ask him. I'm actually very curious as to what he says about it. What if it turns out Greg's super racist? I'm gonna have to take away the Triple G name if Greg's like
he's punching the sky right now. Like
he's waiting to unload on burning all of his baseball memorabilia. He's like, "Fuck Major League Baseball. This is ridiculous."
Not burning memorabilia; it's just burning crosses in the front yard
with Guardians jerseys hooked on them, like a coat rack. No, I don't know. I think Greg's probably not gonna give a shit.
He's going to have a very honest opinion about it, I'm sure, but we'll see.
If anything, I think it's going to turn into it's going to turn into a conversation about sports cards. And he's going to be like, well, fun fact, now that they've changed this rule, I have this card that I got from a pack of bubblegum back in 1995 that's now worth $50,000.
All right, we'll see. We'll put the odds on it. We'll see if the conversation turns into sports cards on Saturday. I'm curious to see what happens.
And yeah, shout out to Steve mentioned Tim there. Shout out to Tim. I don't think he's still with us because I had to update the feed. But apparently Tim was watching with us on Instagram, and I'll have to figure out why. But it will not allow me to. So when I click right here, it says, it says nothing apparently because it doesn't want to load the comments. I digress. Oh, here we go. So now the comments are going to load. It just took forever. So it says. I click Instagram Live. It won't let me do it. And it says StreamYard isn't connected to the account you're streaming to. StreamYard is just sending the stream to the stream URL, blah, 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 a bunch of nerd behind the scenes shit. But basically that's why we're not seeing Instagram comments. So I had no idea people were commenting on Instagram until I clicked over. So shout out to Timbuk2. Hope he's doing well. I still check in Timbuk Tuesday. I still, check in and say hello to him. He's a great dude. Definitely want to have him back on the show here soon. But he was stopping in and saying hello, and I saw none of it. So my apologies to anybody commenting on Instagram. We'll get that figured out hopefully by next week. No promises though. we got a little over 10 minutes left. Do you want to quickly do the schedule game?
Gonna make it quick. Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be the schedule game per se, I guess. We could just do the schedule review, if you will. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. So the Browns start off week 1, Dallas Cowboys, America's game, Tom Brady's first game as a broadcaster will be here in Cleveland. I think we talked about it last week. He kind of hyped up that he's doing this as his first game and only talked about the Cowboys.
Oh, of course.
Did mention the Browns once. So fuck Tom. Week 2, the Browns play the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Week 3, they take on the New York Football Giants at home. Week 4 in Vegas, September 29th, 4:30 game. A lot of Browns fans are trying to go to that. Me personally, no thank you. Kind of a tough stretch here. They go to Vegas, then they go to Washington, then they go to Philly.
That's a tough stretch.
Road games. All Sunday afternoon games. Obviously, the Vegas game is going to be 4:30 for us because that's 1:30 in Vegas. 1 o'clock game against the Washington Commandos, 1 o'clock game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then the next week, week 7, they are at home taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at 1 o'clock on October 20th. Week 8, Baltimore Ravens come to town on the 27th of October. Then we get into November, and you have the Los Angeles Chargers coming in for a 1 p.m. game. And then we get a bye week, week 10. Thank fucking God it's not week 5 like it was last year.
I like the bye week there. It sucks that the bye week there, though, because I'm in Vegas that weekend.
Are you really? That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
For the team, I'm very happy about it. For your trip, that sucks.
For sure.
Then they go to New Orleans for a 1 o'clock game against the Saints. And then Thursday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Squealers, they will be playing them for the first time in
Thursday night,
November. Damn, that's late. They don't play the Steelers till almost fucking December. That's wild. And then they go to Denver to take on the Broncos on the 2nd, which is a Monday night game.
I like the fact that we have a bye, and then we have a game, and then we have another game, and then we have a long break until our next game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's Thursday to Monday.
Yeah, they get a bye week, then they get a Sunday game, then they get Thursday Night Football. So it's a quick turnaround, but then they get fucking 11 games off for a Monday nighter. Then they get the Steelers 1 o'clock on December. What is that? The 6th, 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to, then Kansas City comes to Cleveland for a 1 p.m. game. Then we go to Cincinnati for a Thursday nighter on December 19th. And then the Miami Dolphins come to Cleveland on the 29th for a very cold Sunday night football game in Cleveland. And then they end the season against the Ravens,
which would probably be flex
in time to be determined. Yeah, it all depends on who's in contention. If the Browns or the Ravens or whomever have a playoff game or a playoff spot locked up, they will more than likely be benching people, and that game will not be a primetime game because nobody wants to fucking watch a bunch of backups. But I don't know. I don't do the schedule game personally. I mean, I can look at the schedule and kind of try to tell you who I think. Like week 1, probably going to, I would say a win because of how good the Browns defense played at home, but it's a full new season. So you never know what's going to happen. So I would say win because we're at home. Going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a pretty good team. If Trevor Lawrence is healthy, he was not healthy that much last year. The Browns were able to overcome that and beat him at home. In Jacksonville, it's going to be very hot. You're in the middle of September. It's going to be humid as fuck. It's going to be hot as hell. Gun to my head, I would say that's a loss, but I don't know. Because again, last year, the Browns defense was fucking water trash on the road. This year might be okay. I really don't know.
Water trash. That's a new one. I like it.
I love that. It's from Workaholics. It's one of my favorite words. So right now I would look at the schedule and I would say, let's just go win week 1. I'll say win week 2. The Giants suck. I'll say win week 3. The Vikings suck. Or I'm sorry, the Raiders suck. Win week 4. The Commanders suck. Win week 5. Philly's really good. I'll say loss. So 5-1. Bengals come to Cleveland. We play the Bengals really well. We play Joe Burrow very tough. He does not have great success against the Cleveland Browns. Rumor has it, we can talk about this more next week. Rumor has it that his wrist injury has like an 80% recovery rate, where even though the surgery went perfect and everything was well, his wrist will never be 100% again. That's an interesting fact that I read, that there's some doctors out there that are actually saying that this surgery, that's just how it is. Your wrist will never be 100% again. So as a Browns fan, that's great to hear. So we have them. I will say that's a win for the Browns. So in my head, we are 6-1. The Ravens, I'll give us a loss. Ravens always play us tough. I'll say 6-2. I'll be reasonable. Chargers have to come all the way across the country. Jim Harbaugh in Cleveland. Browns play really well at home. Give me the Browns W there, 7-2. Bye week. At New Orleans. New Orleans kind of stinks. Give me a W there. So let's go 8-2. I think that's where I'm at. Then we go to, oops, I clicked the wrong button there. I keep clicking the wrong button. See you, Steve. Thanks for stopping in, dude.
Later, Steve.
Yeah, Steve invited me over on Saturday night. I'm going to definitely try it out because, again, we have Call of Duty night. So we'll see what happens. Then we go to, so I have a win against the Saints. I forgot where I was at. Are we 8-2 according to my math?
You have them at 8-2 right now.
8-2. We're going to the Super Bowl, obviously. Next, we have Pittsburgh Thursday Night Football. Give me a W. Pittsburgh sucks, especially we're going to be at home. At Denver, Denver stinks. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be that good. So give me another W. So we are 10-2. Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. I'll give us a loss.
10-3.
So, very humble, but yeah. Give me 1 second. I got to fix something here.
All right. Oh my God, put some pants on.
My computer is dying and I forgot to charge it, so I'm going to plug it in. Boom, that's what I'm talking about. I got an alert that says your MacBook will shut down and if you don't plug it in. So that's not good. So I give us a loss in Pittsburgh. So then we are 10-3, I think we're at.
10-3, yep.
Kansas City comes to town. Kansas City's really good. They play really well in December. I'll give us a loss there. So 10-4. I'll be reasonable. In Cincinnati, by this time, Joe Burrow's probably going to be hurt. A bunch of guys are holding out. Cincinnati's in shambles. Give me another W. That's 11-4. Then we have Miami coming to Cleveland. Miami sucks in the cold weather, so that's an easy W.
12-4.
So that is 12-4. And then we end with Baltimore, who at this point, we're benching everybody. Doesn't fucking matter. We already have a playoff. We already have the division locked up here at 12-4. So I'll give us the loss with all of our backups. Browns are going 12-5. You heard it here first.
You can't see it, but there's my win-loss thing right there. 12-5.
And I swear, hand to God, we never talked about this. I didn't even know we were going to do the schedule shit today.
As I went through the whole schedule and wrote down everything before you started going through my losses, I had 12-5. So yeah, 12-5 is what I think we're going to be. So,
all right then, that's perfect. All right. With that being said, we have reached the end of the show, and it is time for everybody's favorite segment, and that is just the tip, and that is, how do we do it? That is here. Nope, did I do that wrong?
Look at you getting the hang of this kind of.
I did it wrong. There we go. And I do not have the pictures. I don't have the pictures. I don't know how to upload the pictures or anything.
No big deal. I'll go into mine real quick because we only have 3 minutes here. Yep. So over the weekend, Jess and I sat down and watched a couple movies. The one movie we watched was the new Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. That picture. There you go.
I was trying to make it just you, but I don't know how to do that.
No, it's fine. You can leave it like this. It's perfectly fine. But Frozen Empire, new Ghostbusters movie, just came out over. Boom. I don't know, a couple months ago or a couple weeks, probably 2 months ago. I enjoyed the one prior to this, The Afterlife. I thought that was a great story to kind of introduce new characters. Paul Rudd getting involved, I think, is a great idea. Kind of introducing that family, Spangler's kid, kind of getting into it. And I thought it was great. I think they dropped the ball with this one. I still like the movie. I thought it was great to a point, but I think they kind of rushed it a little bit. I think they didn't really. Are you okay? Are we just jumping around the?
I'm trying to figure some shit out here, and it's not.
No, it's fine. I think they didn't really character develop as much. I think they had too much focus on the older guys than the newer generation. They could have done better. So I like it as a Ghostbusters fan. I liked watching the movie. Watch it, you'll like it. There's some great callbacks. There's some cool parts of the movie, but it could have been better. That's my opinion. So
okay. Yeah, that's an interesting tip, is to tell everybody, not that great.
We've had tips where it's like, yeah. Tip if you're a Ghostbusters fan, watch it, but don't have high expectations.
So my tip for this week is a new album that came out from, technically he's the lead singer of the band The Wonder Years, one of my favorite bands of all time. He has no relation to the Lions head coach. His name is Dan Campbell. He is the lead singer of The Wonder Years. He also has a side project called Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, which is a made-up character of a guy named Aaron West who just has like the saddest life, And this is the third album that he's done as Aaron West. The first one is phenomenal. It's one of the saddest albums you'll ever hear, but it's actually really, really well done. Second album was okay, if I'm being honest. It didn't really do it for me. And then this third one just came out not that long ago. It's called In Lieu of Flowers, and it continues the Aaron West story about how he's been an alcoholic. He's in this band that isn't blowing up, but it's still something that he does. His wife left him. He's just a sad, depressed dude that like just fucks up all the time. And he is a craftsman when it comes to lyrics and music. And this album is really fucking good, in my opinion. And again, I love the Wonder Years, so of course I'm going to like this too. And this continues the Aaron West story so beautifully. I love it. I listen to it all the time. Just fantastic stuff. You really can't go wrong with my man Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years. He is a phenomenal musician and songwriter. So that is it for just the tip. Check that out. Aaron West and the Roaring 20s, In Lieu of Flowers, the new album. That's going to do it for Kyle and myself here. We have 10 seconds left till countdown. I assume it's going to shut off on time. So with that being said, thank you everybody for watching. Cleveland, that was for you. See ya.